30th, everyone. What am I looking for? I
I don't
for
know.
I don't know what. Oh, I'm trying to enter the YouTube studio so I can get the analytics. I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know why I want the analytics. Why do I want the analytics?
Because you can't just focus on one thing.
Exactly. That's why I want the analytics. But
You have issues with focusing.
yeah. That's what I have issues with focusing. And exactly. So I got the analytics open now.
Good. All right.
Okay. Oh, they've already limited our
Our content.
monetization potential. Weird.
They don't like us.
Hi, two Johns who are watching. So there
Not
are two
John.
Johns, and
Well,
an
John was here early, early. I don't know if he's back yet. Call me John.
okay. So now we have. It would be funny if I had like four Johns watching,
Four Johns. We need four Johns.
or not.
We only want Johns watching.
No. We don't.
We want everyone.
Every name watching.
Okay. All right. We want
So
everyone watching. Don't listen to me.
Robert John. Oh, I had no idea. Robert is our producer for the radio. I mean, for the podcast. I had no idea that his middle name was Robert John Granis.
Ah. Hello, Robert John. I'm going to call him Bobby John.
Bobby John. Okay.
He's going to kill me.
Oh, he's adorable. He's like the sweetest thing on earth. Like, like he can't even hurt a. Like, he's so sweet.
I know. Hi.
Named after both Kennedy. Oh my God.
Robert John, the poor thing.
Nothing. I just discovered something about a friend of mine who may have named his child after Lee Harvey Oswald.
What?
Yeah, I think so. I'll figure this out. So he goes by Rob.
Oh, so Rob, no, he says his whole family calls him Bobby.
Ah,
Bobby. All right.
so he wasn't maybe named after the Kennedy.
No,
Oh,
he was named after
he
the
was born on November 22nd. Okay, that makes sense. That's why he would name his son after.
I was wondering if he was from Massachusetts because we're weird about the Kennedys here.
The Kennedys were from the Massachusetts area, right?
Yes.
They were like gun
They were
smugglers,
very weird about them.
bootleggers, and gun
They
smugglers.
were bootlegger. That's where he made his money. He was bootlegging the Irish, Irish.
Mafia.
So yeah, so he did a lot of bootlegging up here and made his money. And they have a big, huge compound down the Cape. And I worked near the compound. I actually I of course never went on the compound, but I worked near it. So
Okay, I was kind of friends with one of. Okay, so Cord Meyer was like the head of the CIA, and one of Kennedy's lovers was Mary Piquot, and she got strangled to death or something like. But yeah, if she was the CIA leader's wife, she probably should not have been sleeping with JFK.
probably not.
But long story. We'll talk about the JFK connection later.
Yeah, yeah. I have a weird thing. My cousin's kids, but she's kind of like a niece to me. When she was a kid, like she was a young kid, they lived down towards the Cape. They lived down that way, and she was on a beach, and she found dog tags. And my aunt asked me if I could look them up, and it ended up they were dog tags for a Secret Service agent from Jackie Onassis. Well, Jackie Kennedy.
Oh, by the way, Onassis, her second husband, was like also involved in intelligence.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah. Very weird. Okay. So we went
And
on.
then there's a theory about JFK Jr. that Hillary Clinton wanted to run for the Senate, and he was going to
Yeah.
run for the Senate.
Yeah. I was living on the Cape then, and the weekend after that, I went to Martha's Vineyard. But it was just so weird because I was actually waitressing, and we had the news on when it happened, and it was just weird because it was like, oh, that just happened, like right out there. I mean,
It
Martha's
was a
Vineyard.
flight, right, that
It was his own.
allegedly just landed in the water.
Him and his wife and was there
And
somebody
her
else?
sister.
Her sister, yeah. and they
But
just went right off a gay head. They
I thought
just
like they just weirdly landed in the water.
right off a gay head. Mm-hmm.
And Hillary Clinton wanted the 2000 Senate seat in New York.
Mm.
Okay, let's do a poll. Do you guys think Hillary Clinton offed JFK?
JFK Jr.
Junior, sorry, not
He
senior.
wasn't old enough to off JFK. Are you putting that poll in? Okay.
Yeah, sorry. We meant JFK Jr., not JFK the senior, like the president.
She could have. I mean, she was.
She has the motive. She was the first lady. She had the opportunity. She's definitely vile enough to do it.
No, I'm saying that she could have done JFK too. I don't know.
I don't know, but definitely Junior.
All right.
Okay, let's stop.
We have another New Englander that we.
Yes, he lives in Maine. He's a
writer.
fiction writer.
But we're gonna use so we're gonna do the Stephen King clip. I'm only using the little clip because
that's fine. So basically,
we
these two, either Russian or Ukrainian. I thought they were Ukrainian, but they could be Russian or I don't even care. Teenagers from over there. Well, no, now they're young adults, but they've been like doing this for years, where they've been like somehow getting to random politicians. My favorite was when they got the NED. Like they said something, like they pretended to be that lady Svetlana Guaido. I can't. What's her last name? Tihanskaya. I don't even care. I'm just gonna call her Svetlana Guaido, or I could call her Ivana Guaido. I don't know. But Ivana Guaidoskaya. Yeah, that's the perfect name for her. But and then she was like, "Oh, Belarus is having this crackdown on Nazis, and it's gonna make your job at the NED hard." And the NED guy was like, "Yes, yeah, we have to stop this law because we can't crack down on Nazis." And that was very embarrassing.
Yes.
So these teenagers got to Stephen King as why would like pretending they were Zelensky? They're not. Maybe they're young adults. I don't know. I keep calling them teenagers. They're young adults now. I bet you they're not teenagers. Yeah. And Stephen King didn't wonder like, why is the president of a country calling me a fiction horror writer?
I mean, they kind of did, and it may explain the J.K. Rowling one too. Is that near the end, like Ash and I both watched it's a whole 15-minute thing, but we're only going to play a couple minutes. But they did kind of like were saying to him about wanting him to write a script for propaganda, for lies to use and get people to use that, and they kind of were doing that to J.K. Rowling.
And she totally like decided to take notes for it.
Yeah, and then
and she was gonna check with their agent.
Yes.
So she was like totally cool with that.
Oh, he was cool with it too. He was like, all right.
But he was not as cool as JK. JK was like taking notes and getting all excited, and she's like, I'll check with my agent.
And the other thing I want to bring up that we're not gonna show the part, but near the beginning and then near the end, they talk about Pennywise, and Asha never watched it, and she wasn't really sure who Pennywise was, but that's of course the clown that's in it. And so it was like the pranksters were saying like, oh, he's my hero. Like they were acting like they were Zelensky, saying that I identify with Pennywise.
Well, I mean, he is a clown though. I mean, comic.
Yeah,
clown.
So that's what they were saying. Like, I identify with Pennywise, and Stephen King's like, well, he's not a hero, and he's like, no, but I want to play his part. I want to be Pennywise and stuff like this. But at the beginning, Stephen King says something about sending Pennywise over there because there's a Pennywise doll, so that's why it got brought up. But sending Pennywise over there, and all in my head, what I was thinking was like, wow, that would be pretty apropos, right? Sending a child killer
to Ukraine
to kill Russians, or then Stephen later said that he'd send him to Russia.
It's even worse.
Yeah, so he was going to send him to Russia to live there. So
he's going to send a child serial killer.
Yes. So anyhow, let's look at the video for this part of it. Anyhow,
people who are really love Ukraine, yeah, it's not Nazis. It's Azov. They, of course, they love some people like Bandera. It's our national hero. So, what do you think about Bandera? He was in the Second World War, and he fought against Soviet Union. But yeah, he had some crimes, but it's not so big crimes. It's of course accidentally were crimes against Jews, but it's really important to keep him opposed to Putin and his propaganda.
Well, yes, I mean, there are always, you can always find things about people to pull them down. There's Washington and Jefferson were slave owners. That doesn't mean that they didn't do many good things for the United States of America. There are always people who have flaws. We're human. There are things that we do that are bad choices, and then there are things that we do that are great choices. So, on the whole, I think Bandera is a great man, and you're a great man, and Viva Ukraine.
Thank you very much.
I don't know why he didn't say Slava Ukraine. He might as well have said that.
He was trying to get him. He kept saying "Viva Ukraine," and then he wouldn't say it, and they were trying to get him to say it again at the end.
So maybe he knows not to say Slava Ukraine.
Yeah, he said "Viva Ukraine," and then he said something else.
Okay, so okay. But the thing about it is that he got so close about the genocidal maniacs not being heroes. He was like, well, in America they have Jefferson and Washington, and it's like he went the wrong direction.
Exactly.
Like he should have gone like, oh, Jefferson and Washington are genocidal maniacs like Bandera, and none of them should be national heroes, right?
Exactly.
But he just went the wrong direction. He got the right thinking.
But this is the thing too. When
he drove it, you get the right logic, and then you drive off the curb, and I'm like, oh, I hate it when that happens.
But it's a liberal trait. Like the liberals want to make them feel comfortable. Like if someone was sitting there, I mean, and we're going to talk about it later. You're talking about Nazis, and it makes them uncomfortable.
Why?
Talk about Nazis.
I don't get uncomfortable talking about Nazis.
Not you.
But why do they? What makes them uncomfortable is the question.
Exactly. Like why?
Does it feel like a mirror is being shined?
It's just.
It's like if it feels like I'm shining a mirror.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yes, you're right. They don't like. Yeah. Exactly. And George Washington was like the Jordan Peterson of his day. He had this he wrote a book about rules for etiquette. I swear to God, something weird like that. He was exactly like Jordan Peterson.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he copied. He did lots of cringe, but he was the Jordan Peterson of his day.
Men's rights.
Yeah. I mean, he was basically for slave owners' rights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Benjamin Franklin was a little weird, too.
Well, there was a few dead people who they found in his basement. Привет, Comrade Stal. Why would George Washington chew on cotton? That's so weird.
That would be gross.
That's just weird. Okay.
I don't think my teeth would like that.
Yeah, his teeth were bad.
The few teeth that I have left. I don't think
he used his slave's teeth.
Yeah, didn't he? Yeah.
He was yeah, everything's about it. Okay.
All right.
But so if you are here because you saw my tweet about how to argue with liberals and what the secret is, I will tell you.
Are we doing
Lenin?
That? Okay. Oh, Lenin, yeah. I'm sorry.
Obviously.
I just ruined it. I knew where you were going with that, and I just ruined it.
What were you going to say?
We're doing the reading first, right?
Yeah, of course. But but that's the intro to the reading about why you should read Lenin.
True.
He helps. After I read Lenin, I've never lost an argument with a liberal.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you
smarter. It's
Well,
like,
it's exactly like what you said. You were going on Nick's show last night too, and you know he was like, oh, we'll do like some current event, like something that happened that day, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I really like. I'd rather give it a few days,
yeah, just
figure it
think
out,
about
and
it.
really talk about it, and that's I mean, nothing has to be. You don't have to win the internet by like
You don't
being the
have to
first to
be
comment on something, or
exactly.
you know, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, that's why I don't like. I was not very comfortable with doing hot news of the day because it takes a few days to read it through, understand what's going on, situate yourself, and sometimes it's like an outright lie, and I'm not gonna read. I think it's patience is a virtue when it comes to like current events.
yeah.
Just taking a week, a month, 6 months, like to see what's going on.
Oh, was he chewing on cotton because of bleeding gums?
Weird. Okay. Well, I'm
I'm gonna.
glad his gums bled because he was bloody evil. So I'm glad there's some bad things that happened to him.
All right, I have the reading, and I'm gonna pull it up.
I don't understand. Okay, we'll do comments later. Okay, I will.
Why, is there something you want to put up first?
No. I'm getting distracted by the comments. So let's
Oh, okay. Okay.
let me hide it. We'll go through all the comments, and super chats get priority.
Okay, so we did this a little differently. We filmed Esha a couple of days ago just doing the reading so we could get the reading up there, and she wouldn't get as tired doing all the reading because we had, and the funny thing is we only had a half an hour of reading, but half an hour of reading we could probably take a million years to get through. But all right, here we go.
The theory of national income. Having outlined the main
Is that
propositions
loud
of
enough?
there's an echo. Theory of realization, we still have briefly to point to its enormous importance in the theory of national consumption, distribution, and income. All of these problems, particularly the last, have hitherto been a veritable stumbling block for economists. The more they have spoken and written about it, the greater has been the confusion by Adam Smith's fundamental error. We shall cite here some of the examples of this confusion. It is interesting to note, for example, that Proudhon repeated essentially the same error, except that he formulated the old theory somewhat differently. He said, can we just quickly pause just so that stands for all? Okay. Basically, as we know, Adam Smith kind of talks about 10,000 francs.
Sorry, I didn't pause. I muted.
Okay, everyone knows Adam Smith's. Adam Smith basically forgets to talk about how you need like a big like. He basically makes up this crap of the surplus value, and then he doesn't understand how markets are created, so he literally waves his hand with the invisible hand of the free market, and that's complete magical nonsense. So Ellen's making fun of that, and Proudhon kind of says exactly what Adam Smith says. So Adam Smith's wrong. Lenin explains why.
Yeah.
And with them makes advance payments to the workers who must produce goods in return. After A has thus converted his money into commodities, he must, at the end of the production process, at the end, say, of a year, convert the commodities again into money. To whom does he sell his commodities? To workers, of course. For there are only two classes in society, entrepreneurs on the one hand and workers on the other. These workers, having for the product of their labor received 10,000 francs as pay, which cover their essential requirements of life, must now, however, pay more than 10,000 francs. That is, they must pay for the addition that A receives in the shape of the interest and other profits he counted on at the beginning of the year. The worker can cover these 10,000 francs only by borrowing. As a consequence, he sinks deeper and deeper into debt and poverty. One of the two things must necessarily take place. Either the worker may consume 9, although he produced 10, or he pays the entrepreneur the only amount of his wages, which in case the entrepreneur himself suffers bankruptcy and disaster. For he does not receive interest on capital, which he, on his part, however, must pay. Deal Proudhorn 200, quoted from the compilation Industry Articles from Handwörterbuch der Staatswissenschaften, Moscow, 1896, page 101.
All right. Did you want to talk about that paragraph or?
Well, I don't know what to say except well, is there something you want to clarify?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I mean, that's like Proudhon's thinking because he's using.
An anarchist is basically like a petty, as Lenin says, petty bourgeoisie turned inside out. Like,
yeah, I mean, he was coming off of. I mean, he made, like, he did some collectivism, but like he was first like on individualism, so he was coming off as Stirner. So
yeah, with the milk co-op.
Yeah, and so they consider him the father of the anarchy, but
oh yeah, he was also pretty anti-Semitic towards Marx.
He didn't like women.
What?
He was not very nice to women either.
Okay. He didn't like women and Jews, I guess.
Yeah.
Typical. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I'll stop. Okay, but so Proudhon is basically repeating like the entire which is what like a lot of Western anarchists do, is like they just accept every bourgeoisie orthodoxy blindly and not realize that.
Yeah, instead of going to change it. So like what happened here, and then like even with Bakunin, it was Bakunin.
He got kicked out of the.
Both looked at Hegel, and Marx turned Hegel on its end. Yeah. But Bakunin was using some of Hegel.
But Bakunin got kicked out because he got kicked out because
Marx hated him.
Mostly because Marx got annoyed by him, so he got kicked out.
Hegel didn't like it either, but I mean, he got kicked
out. I don't know, but I can't think of the real reason. I can't think of any, like, I don't remember why he got kicked out other than the reason Marx hates him.
There wasn't, it was just that, like,
I mean, I know they tried to come up with, like, some...
Like, Marx was younger than Bakunin by a couple of years. Bakunin came late into, like, just socialism itself. Mm-hmm. So Bakunin wasn't where Marx was with everything. And Bakunin just felt like Marx didn't know what he was talking about because Marx was, saying some things. And then Bakunin was saying, no, I believe in this. And so Marx was always just kind of like you're a dope. Like, you're an idiot because you're not, like, you're looking at everything idealistically. You're using your feelings and you're not, like, looking at things factually. And so that was, that whole, fact versus idea.
Yeah, but they were, like, dissecting what went wrong with the Paris Commune, and he got kicked out of that conference. And
he never showed up. He wasn't there. They dropped him out of the. They dropped him out of the.
Okay, but some people try to pretend there's a high reason, but I really don't think there was. Other than Marx hates him.
Oh yeah, it was definitely Marx just won the day. I mean, that's
okay, but ultimately Marx is right that you should not. You should consolidate power and not let the bourgeoisie in.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. We got out of time. As the reader sees, this is the same difficulty. However, as the reader sees, this is the same difficulty. How surplus value is to be realized that Messrs. VV and Enon are fussing over. Proudhon only expressed it in a somewhat specific form, and this specific character of his formulation brings our Narodniks closer to him. They too, like Proudhon, considered this difficulty to lie in the realization of surplus value, interest or profit in Proudhon's terminology, and do not understand that the confusion they have acquired from the old economists prevent them from explaining the realization not only of surplus value, but also of constant capital, i.e., that their difficulty is in their not understanding the whole process of realization of the product in capitalist society. Yeah, this is still what most economists try to not realize is how production happens in capitalist society or right now through the world. Basically, each like you get raw materials, and all of that raw material is used for the industrial. Well, I mean, except for the little bit you throw away, but like is used for the industrial production. But to do the industrial production, you need the workers. Is the only new thing that's added from the raw materials. So, so capital itself adds no new value because if they just buy the raw materials, what is the new value they've added? Absolutely nothing. So all the value comes from the workers, and not understanding this process is very famous even today amongst all economists in the imperial core.
Yeah. And I always this is such a stupid little point, but it always just goes back to the fact that like they set the prices on that raw material too. Like that, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
I thought the invisible hand of the free market.
We need this much money to buy that raw material. Well, that raw material doesn't really necessarily need to be that much money. It should just be what did it cost, what was the time and the effort that the worker, like that's what the raw materials were.
Well, except it's the opposite, if you've noticed, in that if like the more labor the worker puts in, the less the raw material costs. Hence, the difference between raw copper, cobalt ore and processed.
True.
Ore. So you're actually the closer it gets, the process gets to the extraction of raw material, the more worker labor without pay you're doing. And that's why people in Africa are poor, is because people don't pay them for their labor for thousands of years, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, exactly.
And Janet Yellen, oh my God, is that yesterday? She literally went full King Leopold, like talking about how they need to restrict how the U.S. and allies need to restrict China's access to raw materials. And I'm like, U.S. and allies? You mean U.S. and Britain, you bloody colonizers? Yeah. Raw materials as in Africa? So you want to go back to the 1870 Berlin Conference and give King Leopold his colony? I mean, they literally are thinking, their mind is that demented. And I get so frustrated that people don't realize how demented people in power in the U.S. are. They're literally think their mind is just like King Leopold's, like that level of mush.
Is there any good Janets?
I'm sure. Janet from Three's Company.
Huh?
Janet from Three's Company.
This Janet from Three's Company, okay. And then Susan Sarandon played Janet on, but she wasn't really good. But
Janet on what?
In Rocky Horror, she was Janet.
Okay. So, Janet from Three's Company was definitely a good Janet. She was like a flower girl. No, flower person.
No, she wasn't hippie. She wasn't.
No. She literally was a manager in a flower store.
Oh, yeah. You meant like a hippie.
No. She literally worked in a flower store.
Damn it, Janet. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nomo Popo. All right, let's go ahead.
Regarding this theory of Proudhon's, Marx sarcastically observes, Proudhon exposes his inability to grasp this, namely the realization of the product in a capitalist society. In the ignorant formulation, the laborer cannot buy back his own product because the interest which is added to the cost price is contained in the product. I don't understand why Lenin leaves the French, their original French. It's really, in the Russian edition too, he also leaves that original French. Like, it confuses me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we didn't.
Why? But I don't know.
Because he could.
Yeah. To page 379, Russian translation 698, in which there are mistakes. See, he's like very he can't help himself. Like, why does he have to mention that?
No.
Who made the mistake in this? I bet you it was Bulgakov who translated it. I don't know, like, because he's like really making a point about whoever the translator
It's
is.
probably like a sarcastic little.
No. There were definitely mistakes, and so I bet you he's mad at whoever translated it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the person who translated knows that was like a sarcastic remark to him.
No, yeah, subtweet kind of thing. Not a sort. It's yeah.
Oh, Lennon would be so awesome on Twitter.
Yeah. No, he would. I'm afraid he would be arguing with Nero Tandon for infinity. Worse would be like some egg account. Oh god, he would need Nadezhda to limit his. Okay, well, Lenin would. Okay, as long as there's Nadezhda, I'm okay with Lenin having Twitter, because she would like take away his phone when he's like arguing with egg accounts, and then like block all the accounts that he would waste his time.
Yes. Oh yeah, he totally would go down a rabbit hole. Like he'd totally be like in what I used to do, like those 10-day fights with a liberal.
Yes. No. Okay, so I'm okay with Lenin having Twitter as long as Nadezhda is there. Remark directed against Proudhon by a certain vulgar economist named Fourcade, who quite correctly generalizes the difficulty put forward in so narrow a form by Proudhon. Fourcade said that the price of commodities contain not only something over and above the wages, the profit, but also the part that replaces the constant capital. Hence, concludes Fourcade, in opposition to Proudhon, that the capitalist is also unable to buy back commodities with his profit. Not only did Fourcade not solve the problem, he did not even understand it. Neither did Rodbertus make any contribution to the solution of the problem. While laying particular stress on the thesis that ground rent, profit on capital, and wages are income, Dr. Rodbertus Jagetzau and Zur Beleuchtung der sozialen Frage, he proved quite unable to arrive at a clear understanding of the concept of income. Stating his view as to what the tasks of the political economy would have been had it pursued a correct method. He also speaks about the distribution of the national product, i.e., the true science of national economy, Rodbertus's italics, should have shown how out of the total national product, one part always goes to replace the capital consumed in production or worn out, while the other, as national income, goes to satisfy the direct requirements of society and of its members. But although true science should have shown this, Rodbertus's science did nothing of this kind. The reader will see that he merely repeated Adam Smith word for word, evidently not even seeing that this is only the beginning of the problem. Which workers replace the national capital? How is their product realized? Not a word did he say about this. Summing up his theory, diese neue Theorie, die ich der bisherigen gegenüberstelle, I don't know what that means, in the shape of separate theses, Rodbertus first speaks of the distribution of the national product as follows. Rent. By this, we know Rodbertus meant what is usually termed surplus value, and wages are consequently the parts into which the product resolves into itself, insofar as it is income. This extremely important reservation should only have suggested a very vital question to him. He had only just said that by income he meant articles which serve to satisfy direct requirements. Hence, there are products that do not serve for personal consumption. How are they realized? But Rod Burgess sees no unclarity here and soon forgets this reservation, speaking outright of the division of the product into three parts: wages, profits, and rent. Thus, Rod Burgess virtually repeated Adam Smith's theory together with his fundamental mistake and explained nothing at all regarding the question of income. The promise of a new, full, and better theory of the distribution of national product, and Lenin has a big quote of his in German, proved to be just empty talk. As a matter of fact, Rod Burgess did not advance the theory of this subject a single step. How confused were his conceptions of income is shown by lengthy speculations in his fourth social letter to von Kirchmann, Das Kapital, Berlin, 1884, about whether money should be included in the national income and whether wages are taken from capital or from income, speculations of which Engels said that they belong in the domain of scholasticism. Forward, volume 2. Because, well, money is, as we know, Snowden did this today. Oh my God, he's like separating the state and currency, and I'm like, dude, there is no currency without like a state backing it, because no, otherwise it's just little bits of paper.
Yeah.
But yes, money is a commodity just like anything, and anything can be money, but it can't be a commodity and money at the something cannot be both a commodity and like a value holder. Like if you're using something like paint chips can be, I don't know, sorry, seashells can be money, but you can't use seashells as a commodity while it's being counted as money for other things. That's all.
Yeah. So like gold, you can say gold. Like gold could be used to make jewelry. It can be made that, but then there's places that hold gold as the backing of the money. So
yeah, exactly. It can be like it can't take two things, but basically, money is just like if you like think of everybody's labor in a glass jar, money, and you can actually like imagine how labor gets transferred. Money is just like, yeah, it's like Schrodinger's income. Yes, exactly. And Marx explains it. It's because basically the way commodities are traded is value equivalent. Like, so you get 4 bananas for a cup of coffee, and then money is like the intermediary, so that if you have bananas, you can trade it for money, and then if you have money, you can trade it for coffee. I'm back on the bananas.
I thought we were on the scorpion and the toad now,
but they don't use money, so we can't talk about the scorpion and the frog.
I thought we were done with bananas this week.
Okay, fine. I need it.
You can use bananas all you want.
I can't think of any other. Whenever I think of a commodity, I believe it's probably because of the whole United Fruit thing. The only thing I think of is bananas.
Yeah, that's the way you think of it. Do you know who Patnaik's book on imperialism?
Patnaik. Well, yeah, Ushta, and I forgot the man's name.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a couple from India. I've heard good things. I haven't read their book on imperialism.
If anyone wants to.
Oh, Amir.
So if you want to read up on that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So basically, Roberto's does not, so you can, like, the national income, the idea is like figuring out what a country is making and how much of it. Prabat, yes, thank you, Amir.
Oh, so that's the guy's name? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Ushta and Prabat, okay. So, yeah, and that way you can kind of figure out if a country has a lot of like industrialization, they'll be making, I don't know, widgets, I don't know. But if it's not a lot of industrialization, they'll be selling wheat and cobalt, I guess, gold, I don't know. Anything can be a commodity. People, I don't know, whatever.
So speaking of, so did Ukraine not industrialize as much? Is that why they're
No. What happened is that the Soviets were smart. They understood who was in Galicia, which was the western Ukraine, and they understood who was in the Donbass. So all of the industry in Ukraine is in the Donbass region.
okay?
So the funny thing is that the Donbass had about 20 weapons factories, so you don't even need Russia to supply them with weapons because they can manufacture their own weapons, which they were doing, on top of Ukrainian soldiers just handing them their weapons. And it's funny because they were like, in fact, they can supply Russia weapons, but that's why North Korea is going recognize them, and now North Korea is sending some people to like build cool buildings. That's probably what North Korea wants from them.
Yeah, I saw that. But they were going to build the building.
Yeah, I'm like, Juch. Oh, but I was looking through Rodion Sinmung, which is like the official newspaper of the Korean Kim Jong-un's party. And every 3 months, he calls Assad to make sure he's on. Like, I just noticed this. Like, every few months, he calls Assad and gives him good wishes. So I wonder if Kim Jong-un is trying to keep himself safe from the Assad curse. Otherwise, I don't understand why is he calling Assad every 3 months. Is it just for the sake of it, or
he might just like Assad?
Okay. Assad does. There was this really cute WikiLeaks where this like they tried to like tempt Assad with this like naked woman, and he just replied, "I'm married," and then deleted the email. But his wife is really gorgeous, though. Assad's wife is like so pretty.
Yes. All right. Let's get back to this.
Utter confusion on the problem of national income reigns supreme among economists to this day. And to this day. I kid you not. For example, in his article on crises in Handwörterbuch der Staatswissenschaft, the aforementioned compilation, page 81, Herkner speaks of the realization of the product in capitalist society. Section 5, distribution, expresses the opinion that the speculations of K.H. Rua are sound. Although he merely repeats Adam Smith's mistake by dividing the whole product of society into incomes, R. Mayer, in his article on income, quotes the confused definition of A. Wagner, who also repeats Adam Smith's error, and frankly admits that it is difficult to distinguish income from capital, and that the most difficult thing is to distinguish between returns, Ertrag, and income, Einkommen. Basically, Marx distinguishes this because he looks at the labor and he figures out a way to like calculate how much labor, and then there's no difficulty in distinguishing this.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like it's almost like
willful blindness.
Like everyone's just gonna like not do the research themselves. They're just gonna, oh well, then this is the known thing. We're just gonna say this, and we're just gonna go off of that. But why didn't like that known thing was an invisible hand? Like, so, like,
yeah.
Why didn't you question that? I don't know. But also, I want to bring up too is because Esha did a little comment there. Do you know how hard it is to get Esha to do a straight reading of Lenin without comments? I'm just going to tell you, it was very hard.
Yes. Did I do it? What was the comment?
Oh, hold on.
It's fine. What was the comment I did?
Why did it move to that? Oh, there we go.
I just said till this day.
It says we're on screen, but I'm not seeing us on screen.
I don't see myself on screen either.
What is going on?
I don't know.
Hold on. I'm going to hide us on screen and put us back on. There we go.
Okay.
Okay,
Jamie. Oh, okay. That was my niece who probably screamed, "Mom, where are you?" Yeah.
She's not the mom. She's the aunt.
Aunt. Yeah.
If you hear them scream aunt, then you're.
Don't call me aunt.
then you'll see Esha run out of the
Yeah.
All right. Let's start this again.
Economy, Rodbertus's italics, should have shown how out of the total national product, one part always goes to replace the capital consumed in production or worn out, while the other, as national income, goes to satisfy the direct requirements of society and of its members. But although true science should have shown this,
we went back a little
science
bit.
did nothing of this kind. The
Oh, did we
reader
go
will
back?
see that
Yeah.
he merely repeated insofar as it is income. This extremely important reservation should
We've
only
already
have
finished
suggested
Wagner.
Okay.
together with
Hold
his
on.
fundamental mistake and explain nothing
Sorry.
at all regarding the question among economists to this day. And to this day.
See, that was my extra comment. It was a small comment.
For example, and income, Einkommen,
Okay, there we go.
we
Sorry, people.
thus see that the economists who have discoursed at length on the inadequate attention paid by classical economists and Marx to the distribution and consumption have not been able to give the slightest explanation of the most fundamental problems of distribution and consumption. And this is also true. Check out any Econ 101 textbook. That is understandable, for one cannot even discuss consumption unless one understands the process of reproduction of the total social capital and the replacement of various component parts of the social products. This example once again proved how absurd it is to single out distribution and consumption as though there were independent branches of sciences corresponding to certain independent processes and the phenomenon of economic life. It is not with production that political economy deals with, but with social relations of men in production with the social systems of production. Correct. Once these social relations have been ascertained and thoroughly analyzed, and the place in production of every class, and consequently the share they get of the national consumption, are thereby defined, and the solution of the problem which has brought classical political economy to a halt, and which has not been advanced a hair's breadth by all sorts of experts on distribution and consumption, is provided by the theory which comes directly after those of the classical economists and which completes the analysis from the production of capital, individual and social.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, if you're, yeah, it is a relationship between your relationship to the process of production and your relationship to who's in power in the state. Like, that is the political economy. And every capitalist economist has to ignore one of the two relationships, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing back then, and that's what they'll continue to do as long as capitalism exists.
The problem of national income and national consumption, which is absolutely insoluble when examined independently, has engendered nothing but scholastic speculations, definitions, classifications, proves to be solved in its entirety when the process of production of the total social capital has been analyzed. Furthermore, it ceases to exist as a separate problem when the relation of national consumption to the national product and the realization of each separate part of this product have been ascertained. All that remains is to give names to these separate parts. In order to avoid unnecessary difficulty, one should distinguish gross output, Rohertrag, and net output from the gross income and net income. This gross output and gross product of the total reproduced product. The gross
This is Lenin
income
showing all
is
the names
that
they've given.
portion of value that is production of the gross product. Bruttoprodukt oder Rohrprodukt, measured by it which remains after deducting the portion of the value and that portion of the product of the total production measured by it which replaces the constant capital advanced and consumed in production.
The gross income is then equal to wages, or the portion of the product destined again to become income of the laborer, plus profit plus rent. Net income, on the other hand, is surplus value, and thus the surplus product which remains after deducting wages, and which in fact thus represents the surplus value realized by capital and divided it with the landlord and the surplus product measured by it. Viewing the income of the whole society, the national income consists of wages plus profit plus rent, thus of one gross income. But even this is an abstraction to the extent that the entire society, on the basis of capitalist production, bases itself on the capitalist standpoint and thereby considers only the income resolved into product and rent as net income. This is from Das Kapital. Thus, the explanation of the process of realization also made clear the question of income and removed the main difficulty that had prevented the achievement of clarity on this question, namely, how does income for one become capital for another? How can the product which consists of the articles of personal consumption and resolves itself totally into wages, profit, and rent, but also include the constant part of the capital which never can be income? The analysis of realization given in Capital, Volume 2, Part 3 gave a full answer to these questions in the concluding part of Volume 3 of Capital, which deals with revenues. Marx had only to give names to the separate parts of the social product and refer the reader to the analysis given in Volume 2.
Okay. Well, hello, Nick from Harbin, China. Actually, the episode that Robert will soon edit and bring out, like we talk a little bit about Harbin with regards to what's the medical experimentation that the Japanese did? Well, Project 731, 78, I can't remember, but it's horrific. Like, it's actually, they make Mingela look like a softie. Like, it's horror. Like, they figure out how to distribute like biological weapons on a mass scale, and yeah, so. But that's where they had that lab in Harbin, which is like on the border with China and Russia.
Oh.
Korea and Russia.
Korea and Russia?
Yeah, sorry, China cannot be in the border with China. Unit 731, thank you.
731. All right.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start. This is part 8. We're getting there. Part 8 and 9. And then
why do capitalist nations need a foreign market?
Yes.
Because you run out of people to exploit.
Regarding the above stated theory of realization of the product in a capitalist society, the question may arise, does not this theory contradict the proposition that capitalist nation cannot dispense with foreign markets? It must be remembered that the analysis given of the realization of the product in a capitalist society proceeded from the assumption that there is no foreign trade. This assumption has already been mentioned above, and it has been shown to be essential in such an analysis. Obviously, imports and exports would have only confused the issue without in the least helping clear up the problem. The mistake made by Messrs. Vivi and Enon is that they bring in the foreign market to explain the realization of surplus value, while explaining absolutely nothing. This reference to the foreign market merely conceals their theoretical mistakes. That is one point. Another point is that it enables them, with the aid of the mistaken theories, to avoid the need to explain the fact of the development of a home market for Russian capitalism. Mr. Bulgakov very correctly observes that in the above quoted book, till now the cotton industry, which supplies the peasant market, has been growing steadily, so that the absolute diminution of popular consumption is conceivable only theoretically. The foreign market merely serves them as a pretext for obscuring the development of capitalism and consequently of the market inside the country. a pretext all the more convenient in that it also relieves them of the need to examine the facts which show that Russian capitalism is winning foreign markets.
Okay, by that Lenin means like, I mean, Russia was like the bottom of the, yeah, like if you look at like British people owned everything in Russia, like so. Also, this explains why Chomsky's Narodnik comment is really stupid, because for the most part, Narodnik people were like putting their head in the sand and denying capitalism was coming to Russia in full speed. And like, so they wanted, I don't know, a quote unquote peasant revolution and skip capitalism, but they were being creepy about it and not serious and extremely creepy. And then, but clearly it proves that Chomsky does not know what a Narodnik is.
Yeah, as like Lenin said early on too, is like the Narodniks said, "Oh, we're not going to go through capitalism," as Russia was
going through disaster capitalism, basically. Hi, Kato. That's my niece. What's up? You want to come and say hi to everyone? Come, say hi to everyone. Everyone will think you're so cute. This is my niece, Katya.
Hi, Katya.
Okay, she feels a little shy in speaking right now, right? A little stage fright? Okay, she's feeling a little stage fright. Maybe next time.
We'll get her reading Lenin.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get her reading Lenin as soon as she can.
Yep.
Well, I think she can by now because she knows her ABCs. Oh no, she knows how to read a lot. Okay, she was like sneering at me like, what? ABCs? That's for like kindergartners. I'm in second grade. Third grade. So she can totally do Lenin.
Yeah, she could totally. She should just do the show for us.
Exactly.
The need for a capitalist country to have a foreign market is not determined by the laws of realization of the social product and the surplus value in particular, but firstly by the fact that capitalism makes its appearance only as a result of widely developed commodities circulation, which transcends the limits of the state. It is therefore impossible to conceive a capital nation without foreign trade, nor is there any such nation. As the reader sees, the reason is of a historical order, and the Narodniks could not escape it with a couple of threadbare phases about the impossibility of the capitalist consuming surplus value. Had they really wanted to raise the question of the foreign market, they would have had to examine the history of the development of foreign trade and the history of development of commodity circulation. And having examined this history, they could not have, of course, depicted capitalism as a casual deviation from the path. Secondly, the conformity between separate parts of social production in terms of value and in their natural form, which was necessarily assumed by the theory of the reproduction of social capital, which actually established only as the average magnitude of a number of continual fluctuations. This conformity is constantly disturbed in a capitalist society owing to the separate existence of different producers working for an unknown market. The various branches of industry which serves as markets for one another do not develop evenly, but outstrip one another. And the more developed the industry seeks a foreign market,
like the British textile industry that went to. Like, for example, the British textile industry where they did realize, oh, we're not getting enough cotton, so let's get it from the US. Oh, let's destroy India's textile industry, cut off, and then, oh my God, let's turn India into a big cotton producing factory. So that's how, like, the more developed part of the industry seeks the foreign market, which we'll learn all about in the next book we'll read, which is Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism.
But he does like kind of touch at it a little bit here, but he doesn't go into great detail. But it's yeah, he's like touching it, like I don't know, right?
Yeah. Oh no, he has through the whole book because every time I make a comment, you're like, wait until we get to imperial.
Okay. Capital nation realizing the surplus value, the profound conclusion so readily drawn by the Narodniks, it merely indicates the lack of proportion in the development of different industries. If the national capital were distributed differently, the same quantity of products could be realized within the country. But for capital to abandon one sphere of industry and pass on to another, there must be a crisis in this sphere. And what can restrain the capitalists threatened by such a crisis from seeking foreign markets and from seeking subsidies and bonuses to facilitate exports? Nothing. Thirdly, the law. Hold on. There's another piece of with Lenin which is really hilarious, where he explains like how parliaments work, and then he mentions all these things like bailouts, all these like different words, and then he's like this thing. One form of bonuses that the capitalists give themselves, and then he's like bailouts, another form of bonuses that they get, and like all these words are just synonyms for bonuses that they give themselves, which is like hilarious. But yeah, that's exactly why they seek out. I mean, you see this too with Amazon allegedly having bidding wars over cities when the cities should be like, screw you, we're like taking over, we're nationalizing. We don't need the bidding war. Like, okay, you goodbye. They can do that. Takings clause. Even with the imperialist, capitalist, slave owner, genocidal constitution, you have the takings clause, so you can literally take anything you want. But of pre-capitalist modes of production is the repetition of the process of production on the previous scale, on the previous technical basis. Such are the corvée economies of the landlord, the natural economy of the peasants, the artisan production of industrialists. The law of capitalist production, on the contrary, is the constant transformation of the modes of production and unrestricted growth on the scale of production. Under the old modes of production, economic units could exist for centuries without undergoing any change in character or in size, and without like the spinning wheel, you can only like spin so fast until you got the power gin, and then you could like make infinite amount of thread, like bundles and bundles and bundles, like 10 to the power of 5 level of thread that you couldn't make. Like for centuries you could only make however much people could spin, and then now you have all this thread, so then you have to find a loom. No, after the thread you find a loom to make it into cloth, and then the power loom goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And so basically, but the thing is that as these power looms go, they need more cotton, which is unfortunately cannot be met. Like you can't speed up the process of how long cotton grows or the labor it takes.
Yes.
Hence, that's why they always export that process to third world countries. Oh, and you know why U.S. is claiming genocide in Xinjiang? You know who the biggest producer of raw cotton used to be in the world?
China.
Used to be. Until they started crying genocide.
Yeah.
U.S.
Oh, okay.
So then China started to develop raw cotton in Xinjiang, in that province. And only after they made better, higher quality cotton for cheaper or whatever, the U.S. started to cry genocide, slave labor. And of course, ironically, in many of the states, they still use prison labor for production of raw cotton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's like a glass house storing stones.
Yeah.
Well,
if we're gonna do any of the crap work here in the U.S., it's either going to be immigrants or prisoners.
Yeah, but U.S. used to, and so basically, it's them not being able to handle the free market that they created right after. Like it's like you created the bloody free market. You can't compete.
Yes. Weren't we talking about the free market earlier?
What?
Weren't we talking about the free market only means the U.S. having the freedom, not.
Oh, that's yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I know that. Like it's like the whole new trade war with China. Well, this whole whatever they're doing with China is entirely that. They're upset that they can't follow their own. They can't, like, it's like losing an election you rigged, like Hillary Clinton did.
Exactly.
How do you lose a rigged election? I don't
They
know.
rigged the whole system, and now
You're losing
people
your
are
own.
using, other countries are using that system against them, and they're not liking it.
Yeah, it's like literally like losing a rigged election you rigged for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Landlord's manor, the peasant's village, or the small neighborhood market for the rural artisans and small industrialized, the so-called handicraftsmen. The capitalist enterprise, on the contrary, inevitably outgrows the bounds of the village community, the local market, the region, and then the state. And since isolation and seclusion of the states have already been broken down by commodity circulation, this natural trend of every capitalist industry brings to the necessity of seeking a foreign market. And thus, the necessity of seeking a foreign market by no means proves that capitalism is unsound, as the Narodnik economists like to picture matters. Quite contrary, this necessity demonstrates a progressive historical work of capitalism which destroys age-old isolation and seclusion of systems of economy, and consequently the narrowness of intellectual and political life, which links all countries of the world into a single economic whole. And also the Narodniks
we can see that
hold on.
two latter causes.
Sorry.
It's okay. Like I said, the Narodniks kind of make the same mistake many people make. And this is maybe the appropriate time for the scorpion and the frog tale about like the scorpion like doing something that's bad for himself that'll like sink everyone. Is that capitalism is okay being unstable and crashing everything every few years, and Narodniks don't understand that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, but if they have to seek a foreign market because they are like running out of like products here or slave labor or whatever, that means capitalism is unstable. And it's like, yeah, but capitalists don't care about that.
No.
Because they just want profits, and they're fine either way. Like whether you eat, you don't, whether everything crashes every 5 years or not, whether you have people go homeless, like they're all fine with every single thing.
Yes.
That's the biggest, like, so thinking that capitalists will have a responsibility, I don't know. What's that mistake? I don't know what that mistake. It's like basically they don't have to. Capitalism will crash every few years, and capitalists know that.
Yeah, they don't
care.
It doesn't really hurt them.
And that's what Lenin will talk about that too.
Yeah.
Of the need of a foreign market are again causes of a historical character. In order to understand them, one must examine each separate industry, its development within the country, its transformation into a capitalist industry. In short, one must take the facts about the development of capitalism in the country. It is not surprising that the Narodniks take the opportunity to evade facts under the cover of worthlessness and meaningless phrases about the impossibility of both home and foreign markets.
Oh, yeah. It kind of reminds me of somebody who also refused to take the facts about fascists in Ukraine. That's me being a little extra mean, I guess.
So basically, he's saying like capitalism happened differently for certain places, but
it'll always happen may happen differently for everywhere, but you have to take the facts into account.
Yes. And
so
you have to look at it from the standpoint of what capitalism is to that country. So
exactly.
When you look at,
look at capitalism. Okay, like I said, look at Britain versus Congo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
Conclusions from Chapter 1. Let us now sum up the theoretical propositions examined above, which have a direct bearing on the problem of the home market. The basic process of the formation of a home market, i.e. development of commodity production and of capitalism, is the social division of labor. This consists of various forms of processing raw material and various operations in this processing, separating from agriculture one after another and becoming independent branch of industries which exchange their products, now commodities, for the products of agriculture. Thus, agriculture itself becomes an industry, produces commodities, and is the same process of specialization that takes place in it. A direct conclusion from the preceding proposition is the law governing all developing commodity economy, and more so the capitalist economy, the industrial, i.e. non-agricultural population grows faster than the agricultural and diverts an ever-growing part of the population from agriculture to manufacturing industry. Thus, the separation of the direct producer by the means of production, his expropriation, and signifying the transition from simple commodity production to capitalist production, and constituting the necessary condition for this transition, creates the home market. The process of this creation of the home market proceeds in two directions. On the one hand, the means of production from which the small producer is freed is converted into capital into the hands of the new owner to produce commodities, and consequently are themselves converted into commodities. This even simple reproduction of the means of production now requires that they be purchased. Previously, these means were reproduced in greater part from the natural form of and partly were made at home. I.e., this provides a market for the means of production, and then the product is now, with the aid of these means of production, also converted into a commodity. On the other hand, the means of subsistence of the small producers becomes the material element of variable capital, i.e., the sum of money expended by the employer, whether a landowner, contractor, lumber dealer, factory owner, makes no difference on hiring workers. Thus, these means of subsistence are now converted into commodities, i.e., create a home market for the articles of consumption. The realization of the product in a capitalist society, and consequently the realization of surplus value, cannot be explained without clearing up the point that that the social product, like the individual product, resolves itself in terms of value into three parts and not two: constant capital, variable capital, and surplus value, and not only into variable plus surplus value as taught by Adam Smith and the entire school of economy that came after him and before Marx, and that's still okay. And that its natural form, it must be divided into two departments: the means of production consumed productively, the articles of consumption consumed personally. By establishing these main theoretical propositions, Marx fully explained the process of realization of product in general and of surplus value in particular in the capitalist production, and revealed that it is utterly wrong to drag the foreign market into the problem of realization. Marx's theory of realization also threw light on the problem of national consumption and income. From what has been said above, it follows automatically that the problem of the home market as a separate self-sufficient problem, not depending on the degree of the capitalist development, does not exist at all. That is why Marxist theory does not anywhere or ever raise this problem separately. The home market appears when commodity economy appears. It is created by the development of this commodity economy, and the degree to which the social division of labor is ramified determines the level of its development. It spreads with the extension of commodity production from products to labor power. Only in the proportion as latter is transformed into a commodity, does capitalism embrace the entire production of the country, developing mainly on account of the means of production, which occupy an increasingly important place in the capitalist society. Home market for capitalism is created by developing capitalism itself, which deepens the social division of labor and resolves the direct producers into capitalists and workers. The degree of development of the home market is the degree of development of capitalism in the country. To raise the question on the limits of the home market separately from that of the degree of development in capitalism, as the Narodnik economists do, is wrong. That is why the question of how a home market is being formed for Russian capitalism reduces itself to the following. How and in what directions are diverse aspects of the Russian national economy developing? What constitutes the connection between the interdependence of these diverse aspects? The next chapters will be devoted to an examination of data containing answers to this question.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, you'll see. Basically, I don't know whether people will understand what the historical role of Russia is, and then understand the magnitude of the accomplishment of the Bolshevik Revolution.
Yeah.
Because I can't make, like, I try to explain to people, like, look at, I don't know, any third world country, any overly exploited country, and look at Russia, and that's all the Bolshevik. The reason why Russia is really, Lenin liked cats too. That Lenin had a cat just like that. Oh my God, you look just like Lenin in that cat video.
I look like that.
No, I'm not. No. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, right?
He's a big boy now.
Okay, but I meant like the way the cat jumped is in the same position.
Yeah.
Not that you. Oh God.
I don't look like Lenin.
Yeah, you're like the wrong race to look like Lenin, even.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also
the wrong gender.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. I have hair.
Yes.
Lenin did not have hair.
Yes.
All right. Martin, what are you doing, buddy? I don't know. My cats are crazy.
So, but it's like there's so much to understand. But yeah, you have to. I mean, they do that now too, which the head in the sand syndrome. Like every single bloody economist article that's like surprise, like, oh my God, they're gonna be eating like in the future we'll be eating cockroaches, or it's all about the denial of the development of capitalism as it continues to develop or continues on forward.
Yeah.
It'll go to the apocalyptic stage, the post-apocalyptic stage, maybe.
The thing, like, I think, and I don't know, like, I think it would be without, like, I mean, not with people, but it's almost easier because we have like so many things set up now, like the industrialization has
That's what Marx used to think. That's what Marx thought too, and that's why he thought that like inside of an industrial center is where the revolution's going to be, but
no, and it's just so weird because like you would think.
No, but you have to read Gramsci. Well, if you read Lenin a little bit, but you really have to read Gramsci to understand, because he talks about the hegemony and the labor aristocracy, and it's always the white people's fault. I'm sorry, but how the white people sold out the rest of the world during the World War I. Yeah. But yeah, and once you understand Graham, because that was a problem he wrestled with it bothered him. Like, what the bleep? Why is Mussolini here? We should have had a global revolution. Yeah. Everything was falling apart, and now we have Mussolini, and I'm in prison. What the fuck is like his thing? And in prison, he sat and thought and thought and thought and thought, and finally understood. He's a little hard to understand, but very necessary. And I really hate the fact that Pete Buttigieg gets
royalties whenever you buy a book in English.
Yeah. I read everything online.
I
I
know.
search every book I search. I search
But
the tiny
Gramsci
PDF.
is difficult because he has to write in Mussolini's prison. So when he uses code in Italian, you can't. It's a little hard.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It's not okay. So Lenin was in a different position, as in Lenin was in exile. So he just had it, and you just had to smuggle his books into Russia. It's like so he could write whatever. He was very free thinking, a little too free thinking, a little too uncensored. Gramsci was like inside this capitalistic, inside of Mussolini's prison, where the guards were checking everything, reading like, and then they were like knowing, yeah. Always remember to invert your Mussolini. Yes, that's how he belongs. Oh, speaking of Mussolini, do you know what they did in Ukraine today about the labor?
No.
Okay, so basically in Ukraine today, for those who want to deny that Ukraine is not fascist, so Zelensky and the parliament has passed labor deregulation laws. It will remove 70% of Ukraine's workforce from the national labor law. Parliament has passed a new law that effectively introduces 0-hour contracts. The draft law removes employees at small, medium-sized enterprise from national labor laws and proposes they should strike their own individual agreements with employers, as in they can't do collective bargaining. You know whose also first law was this after he was put into power?
I'm sorry, I was thinking. I don't
We
know.
were just talking about him.
I was reading a comment and I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Okay. Ukraine's parliament passed a deregulation law for people who are denying that there is fascism in Ukraine. Ukraine's parliament passed a deregulation law and removed 70% of Ukraine's workforce from the national labor law. And draft law 537 removes employees at small and medium-sized enterprises from national labor law and proposes they should strike their own individual, you and employer, individual labor agreements with their employer. So basically it outlaws unions and collective bargaining. Whose first law was that? Hint, we just talked about him just a minute ago. Exactly. So, I mean, for the fascism deniers of Ukraine, I don't know what to say.
Well, we'll have a few things to say in a minute.
But yeah, like I don't know how much. Like yeah, he'll pass. Like I'm like, come on.
So what do you want to answer this one again?
I already did. Lenin. You have to. Lenin goes. Okay, liberals have no new arguments since 1920. They have not come up with a new argument since then. So Lenin has figured out every argument there is to be had, and has had every argument there is to be had with every type of liberal that existed. So if you read Lenin's collective works from volume 1 to 55. You're just prepared because you know all the arguments and you know all the arguments they're going to do and you know their style. So I learned how to argue with liberals by reading Lenin, and that's why I can ignore. I have this cold thing when they're like saying things like when they're throwing shit at you like a Putin puppet. Oh, that's the first law. The first rule is embrace the label. Because if you're ashamed of who you are, then you're not going to persuade somebody. So you can't be like, I'm a little socialist, but not that far. No, you're like, no, I'm a Stalinist. I'm not embarrassed. Stalin did not kill enough Nazis.
Yeah.
See, that shows strength. But if you're like, I like socialism, but I don't want to go too far in killing Nazis, that's weak. No one's going to want to be on your side. But if you're like, yes, we drove the tanks down to Berlin and we put the red flag on the Reichstag, that shows strength.
There you go.
And that's why you should, whenever they throw a label at you, be proud and embrace it. If they call you a Putinist, say, da, spasiba za dengi, Putin. If they call you an Assadist, you should be dancing to Allah Surya al-Assad. And then if they call you, well, what else can they call you? Tanky, Putinist, Assadist, what else is there?
They think tanky's like so bad. I'm like,
yeah, I'm like, okay, we're gonna drive our tanks right over. These tanks are made for driving, and one of these days we're gonna drive our tanks all right over you. And I don't know what else can they like. Those are just yeah.
I want to know what how Lenin would respond to a vote blue no matter who guy.
Oh, he already did. There was the cadet thing. He's already done that. Cadets had this idea, and I can read that like next week.
Yeah, we should do that one for the
if you're they're not gonna call you a Trumper. Well, if they call you a Trumper, say Trump was a landlord. I am a Maoist. Mao shot all landlords. So
yeah,
if I had my way, I would have shot Trump.
Yeah,
in the head.
It's only if they're calling you something that
I would not have done that to the president. Oops,
that you are like if you're a communist.
Oops, I would have shot landlords. Oops, I did not mean to get the Secret Service. Oh my God, how silly of me.
All right, you want to go?
Oh yeah, don't let the enemies define the contours of your battlefield, comrades. Thomas O'Connor. That was a good wisdom.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready?
What does Gary Webb do? Oh, he's the guy who exposed the cocaine Contra scandal, right? Gary Webb is the journalist who exposed the cocaine Contra scandal?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So let's get the party started.
All right. So also...
So liberals, the first bad thing they do is label. Don't be embarrassed. Embrace it. Be proud of it. Because if somebody says, are you a communist? And you're like, hell yeah, I'm a communist and I'm so red.
Yeah. But if they call you something like crazy, then...
And then if they call you crazy, well, we can explain... Kwame Ture has a great argument for that too.
Yes. All right. So, all right. Here we go. This shall be interesting.
Yeah, yesterday I went on Katie Halper's show and there was this liberal. I would not have been dissecting this, except she kind of did something mean, which was continue to smear me after I left.
Yes.
It's when I did not have a chance to defend myself.
I clipped it down the best I could, so we'll see. And then I have one other clip I have to do at the end.
Okay.
Let's
let the party started.
A half ago, I think was a big blunder for him to try what did he call Saudi Arabia?
A pariah state.
And then we need to isolate them. Right after, I think it was the Khashoggi murder.
Okay, the Khashoggi murder was about
obviously
4 years ago.
Offended the Saudis. However, for me, I think that what came out of his latest visit is in many ways, and I'm thinking about Yemen and the war in Yemen, positive. Right before he traveled to the region, there was already a 3-month truce that the Saudis had brokered. The
Saudis had not brokered this truce. It was the UN that had brokered the truce. So this is a fact check that I was not 100% sure live to fact check, but I double checked and the Saudis did not broker this truce.
Yeah, we have it right. Let's see. This was one of the articles you showed on the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll just share it down there, I guess.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different articles that we can share. So let me stop sharing that. Okay. And then you also had.
So she made the video private. Okay, well, I have my part downloaded, so I don't have to make it private. We can show the whole video with the commentary.
Yeah, we're not showing the whole video.
But we will if it's made private.
Well, I mean, we're not showing the whole video here. We're just showing.
No, we will though if it's made private. We are definitely showing the whole video.
Yeah, she put it. I think she put it on Patreon.
Okay, then we're gonna show the whole video right after we hang. Right after. No. Then we might get a copyright strike. Okay, we have to comment with the video.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we just show the whole video then?
No, well, we'll just go through these parts because this is what we have ready. And if we show the whole video, it's going to be another hour.
I see. We're gonna. So why don't we set that as a premiere sometime next week, later, right?
We'll do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're just showing clips here.
Okay.
Been negotiating with the Houthis in Muscat, Oman, and Jordan for almost a year and a half.
Okay. So that was the end of that. So as we said, yeah, they have what was the other thing that they said that
it didn't matter. Saudis did not broker anything. It was
it was
and the Saudis had over 50 violations of the ceasefire agreement. Okay.
Yeah. Wait a second. We'll go into the next one.
Been happening. Okay. So Saudis realized the Emiratis had left the UAE 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, since the Hodeida port. They know that there's no way of winning this battle. The Saudis know there's no way of winning this battle, and the solution has to be a political solution. And so Biden announced about 2 or 3 days ago, was it 3 days? The same day, I believe, or probably the next day, that the Saudis are actually working with the Houthis and the other conflicting parties or that are part of this conflict for a 2-year truce.
Okay. So on that was about the
Houthis. Let's just show what the Houthis said yesterday.
Yeah. So you have hold on. Too much jumping around for me. Okay, hold on. Let's read. Yeah. Okay, so then this is what the Houthis had said. Will not extend UN brokered truce. So this was just.
I don't see it though.
Why? Oh. Damn it. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Houthis said no to that.
Yeah. That was just, when did this come out? The 17th.
Yeah. Yes. 3 days ago.
So she was saying that they were saying yes. Okay.
No. That's factually wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I can go back. The next thing. So this next part is just kind of some. You called it a little bigotry.
Houthis in the north. The problem is the Houthis have, and this is an honest. And by the way, I'm supposedly part of the Houthi family because I'm from the north and I'm Zaidi. And you know how that works, right? The Houthis take a lot.
Can you explain how that works? I don't.
So,
I don't.
Right. So Houthis are Yemenis. They're from a region, the north of Yemen, which is Sada, and they are part of the Zaidi sort of Hashemite kingdom that ruled.
Hashemite means they're related to the king of Jordan, basically.
Yeah, well, the Hashemites ruled Yemen for over 1,000 years. They're the minority because they believe that they have the God-given right. They're supremacists. They're literally the supremacists of Yemen, right?
Well, that's like saying that black people are reverse racist. It's just stupid.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was just, you just wanted to show that for that. Okay, so we're moving on.
Okay, so she tweets in Arabic and says, "God, this girl is stupid in a sectarian way. All night long she's grinding." That's just childish of her to tweet in. Okay. So, uh, notice how I don't call Rabia stupid, but I deal with ideas and facts. Name calling, you only resort to name calling when you don't have ideas or facts.
Yeah. So let me just show that. Oh, it's kind of a pain because I screwed up because I changed it so that it didn't show. But that's the tweet that Ash is talking about right there. Okay. And we'll show this back on screen. Okay, so we're getting into this is going to be a longer clip. It has kind of 3 parts to it that you about. One was what you call the moon colony, but it's actually like a
She claims that MBS was had a plan for 2030 development. It's nuts.
Well, I'm sorry, you should say that again.
I said because the Houthis are capable of destroying Saudi's oil production is why Saudis are. I was making no moral judgment.
No, I agree with you. Actually, okay. In fact, 3 months ago, 3 months ago, in fact, there was a couple of, I think, like you said, drone missiles that even hit Abu Dhabi in the UAE. Yeah. So there definitely, of course, that fear from the UAE, who is now for the past 15 to 20 years, by the way, they haven't been a part of this conflict for the last 3 to 4 years because they know that there's no military solution. They know they're losing at the end of the day. And they have this, they're developing, they're trying to lure tourists, and Dubai is like the hub of tourism right now. So it's definitely hurting. Of course it is. Economically, it's hurting them in every way. The Saudis, the MBS or the Al-Malik Salman or Al-Amir Salman, the prince, has laid out a vision for Saudi Arabia, and it's called the 2030. By 2030, okay. He wants to develop the country. He wants to move the country towards more of a model like the
moon
UAE
colony
has been doing for the past 15 to 20 years, and that is not to depend so much on their oil
dinosaurs.
Or even the pilgrimage, because another 30, 40 years, the Saudis know they're not going to have oil.
All right, so let me.
My dad, we had to get the old Wall Street Journal, and my dad got it from his university.
Yes. So I actually put it up in Substack so it looked a little better.
Awesome.
So this is actually, the article is actually from
Wall Street Journal.
The Wall Street Journal, and I just have it copied and pasted because it's just all I got was the. Where are you? Okay. Share. I gotta change that back.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the article.
Go down to the Jetsons. Gnome is
Let me just make it a little bigger.
Yeah, let's go down to the Jetsons part.
Where are we at?
We want to wait until we see the moon base. Okay, Vision 2030.
Vision 2030. Is that right up there?
Yeah, okay. No, I saw it. Scroll down. We haven't gotten to the stupid part yet.
Oh, there it is. The crucial part of 2030 plan.
Yeah.
Foreign investors to deploy capital in Saudi Arabia rather than show up to tap into the billions of dollars the country is planning to invest overseas.
Okay, hold on. What is it? Okay. Well, okay. No. Go down further. It gets stupid. Really stupid.
We won't waste 30 years of our lives.
Where's the moon part?
Hold on. Let me do a find. Moon. Oh, it doesn't have the word moon in it.
So maybe we didn't copy the entire article. Okay, it's fine. I'll read the entire article.
Yeah. So stop sharing.
So she says that MBS wanted to do like development. Okay. Okay. So it's a PDF article.
Yeah, I have the original. I just don't have all the.
Okay. So, Nome would have its own laws and regulations. A swirling ballerina. Okay, okay. Where is the fucking moon?
Oh, they said try lunar.
What?
Someone said I should have tried lunar.
Oh yeah, lunar.
But anyhow, you know what? Even just showing the.
It's a really stupid idea. Okay, so no one can take this idea seriously. Like they want to bring back dinosaurs. It's just extremely stupid idea.
What am I doing?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
We're looking at Saudis. Okay.
If you just see the
just Google moon colony.
That's what it says on the top of this.
Yeah. It's like so stupid. Okay, so let's continue. They want to make a Jurassic Park thing. Yes. Robots, dinosaurs, and an artificial moon. Not a moon colony. I'm sorry. They want to make a fake. Wait, why do you want to make a fake moon?
They're going to make a giant artificial fake moon.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
Cool, because they have a glowy ball that people put their hands on. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Do you remember the glowy ball?
Yeah, the evil orb with like, there was like Trump, Assisi, and the vegetable dad. And they all had their hands on the evil orb. They want to make a Death Star. Yes. Or something like the Truman Show, where everything from the moon, you're like, they're spying on it and like broadcasting it to people outside the colony.
Yes. All right, so coming up next, we're moving on to, you just wanted to show them with the Shah.
Their economy. The problem with the Saudis is that they were the biggest funders of the Islamic awakening that began with the Ayatollah Khomeini revolution in Iran in 1979.
Look at my face.
And then within a couple of years, oops, sorry, there goes my recording.
But he is a Shia. So I would kind of
hold on, let me just hold on. Let Robbie.
She literally said Khomeini was funded by the Saudis.
Huh?
She literally said this Khomeini was funded by the Saudis, which is insane.
Yeah.
I promise you I'll get to it. Let me just talk about this very important point that a lot on the left don't have enough information about, is that our biggest problem in the Middle East today is the Islamic Islamists, the extremism.
Islamic Islamists as opposed to the Christian Islamists.
This has become a catastrophe for the region. I mean, we have ISIS at this point. How bad could it get? So in 1979, the Khomeini revolution starts, and then the Saudis and all these Gulf countries, the UAE, went on a race, like a competition. Who's going to become? How are we going to counter this Shia, Islamic revolution? Well, we're going to have our own Islamic awakening, and it literally destroyed the entire region. We have been suffering for more than 4 decades under this plague that has taken us back decades.
Okay, so she first confuses the Islamic Revolution and she claims that like the Shah was, okay, here's the Saudis are being BFFs with the Shah of Iran. The Shah was like literally like Henry Kissinger still has like an empty hole where his heart would be, and the Shah is the only thing that can fill it. Like the West loved the Shah. And like half the time they're mad at Iran because they dumped so much money into the Shah and gave him weapons, and then the revolution came and basically they're mad at their investment.
You had a whole bunch of like
let's do my thread on the Islamic Revolution so that people understand how different life was in Iran with the Shah versus post-revolution.
It's the other thread. Where are you? Okay. You had 2 threads you gave me. So.
Yeah, I mean, to say that women... Okay, so if you just are like looking at whether or not somebody can wear a miniskirt, that's not women's liberation. That's just... God knows what that is. And you only could wear a miniskirt in that stupid beach in that one photo taken by Time magazine.
Yeah. Basically.
So, like, don't... Yeah.
All right, so... I have to do some jumping here. Okay.
Okay, let's go for trains. There was one train line. Look at all the trains. You know why trains are important?
Yes, because
How
it
else
gets
do you get stuff? Otherwise, you don't have things like houses, just like tractors. You have women being the cow,
yeah,
like we
exactly.
saw in Russia.
Yeah, it helped it trains like moved industry like forward
And
rapidly.
people,
Yeah,
exactly, from
you
place to place.
needed all that. Do you want me to go up from this or go
Yeah,
down?
yeah, go up or down. It doesn't even matter. Okay, now let's look at the literacy rate. In 1968, only 28% of the population in Iran was literate. That meant that if there were 100 people, only 28 could read.
Yeah.
Today, they're at exactly. Amir Barber is right. It's like blaming the Bolsheviks for the Nazis. 93% of September, and it's now up to 100%, by the way.
Yeah. All right.
So, I mean, and you don't know how oppressive illiteracy is. Like, how do you get a divorce? Like, how do you get it? Like, with a marriage, if you can't read your marriage contract, do you know you're going to get a settlement? Do you know whether you have the right to divorce? Like, you know if your husband can get a second wife? You can put all that in your marriage contract. And so being able to read is so important for women's rights. The custody of children, all of this, it goes into Islamic marriage contracts, if you want it.
And then the next one was malnutrition.
Malnutrition, okay.
So you had.
So the average intake was 1,600 calories. So that just shows you they did not grow enough food to feed the people. Majority of the people, average means half the people got less calories than 1,600 a day.
Oh yeah.
So half the people were starving to death.
And then that's just.
You have to move over somewhere.
All right, and then
now it's like now it's like they have lots of food. Okay.
And
under the Shah, like right now, okay, 49% was it? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. This is post. I don't go to the other one.
Okay.
I made a mistake here.
Oh, you put it backwards. Okay.
There were 2 female senators.
Sounds like the United States.
Yeah. Let's go up.
All right. So 40,
there were 40,000 college students under the Shah.
Yeah.
Now there are 4.3 million people getting college degrees. And 55% of the people getting college degrees are women. That's also true in Saudi Arabia, and I don't understand why, but yeah. Many villages, look, this is very interesting. School teachers are found in many villages under the Shah. What does that mean?
Not all.
Exactly. So there are some villages without school teachers. You had infant mortality rate. 162 per 1,000. Now, 13 per 1,000.
Yeah. I think that's better than United States, right?
Is it? Okay.
I'd say so.
Okay, look at this. Life expectancy, 45 years for men. 74 years. And 76 for women.
So women
are living longer.
But when they arrive back at the village, I don't know if this is.
This is horrible. Like, this is like a story of this, like, there's been no hospital, and this man was, like, put out of business. Oh, and he had only $2. His entire wealth was $2.
Screw the Shah.
Yeah, fuck.
Rural
hospitals didn't exist under the Shah. Now they do. And these are the things that you... Wait, look at... This is what you have guaranteed to you post-revolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
So So,
And they even won the Nadezhda Krupskaya Prize for Literacy in Iran.
yeah, that's good.
Krupskaya. And look at this. No clean water. No plumbing. Shah acts to end Iranian. What year is that? It's really too little late in my opinion.
1960.
1960.
No,
That
60.
seems- what?
60.
1960. That seems a little late to end serfdom, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, holy. But U.S., oh my God, I see freedom and democracy.
yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, the facts are all there. Like,
No literate, I'm sorry, no person who knows any of these facts will say that women were better off under the Shah.
no. I mean,
As for the dress code, every country has dress codes, and I mean, it's not like in India you can actually go out without dressing like that and not get like sexually harassed. Nope. You have to be covered head to toe in India too. Even though India is a democracy, literally, if you have to like literally be covered head to toe if you don't want to get sexually harassed in India.
yeah. I think pretty much anywhere you have to be covered head to toe.
Iranian knowledge and facts or
I'm
I ignore you. I'm sorry
but
about that.
You know it because you're a Muslim woman. You're just whitewashing it because you've got an agenda.
I'm not whitewashing it. I am bringing in facts. Let's look. I can share these facts with anyone. Let's look at the literacy rate. This is by the State Department.
All right, I'm trying to figure out. Okay, let's acknowledge that. Okay, let's say.
Let's look at the women's literacy rate in Iran between 1970. Okay, look at it between 1975 and today, and look. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say too.
All right, this is going to
They raped a baby on video.
Now we're going to Ukraine.
Invaded Ukraine to
Yes.
to clean it from the Nazis and the baby
Yes,
rapers.
he did.
Oh.
That's exactly what he said. Denazification and demilitarization. Those were his exact words.
It is a loss. It's like there's no point of me even making any kind of rational
Because
discussion
it's
with someone
because
that
you're
believes
not
everything
up
that's
on
on
facts on Ukraine. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
hold on. All right. So, I don't even remember what my original question was.
Oh, you
on
were
this.
asking
It was
about Ukraine
I'm
and
gonna talk in a more rational way.
no, I'm giving
Hold on,
facts.
hold
You
on.
have not given a fact yet.
I know that the U.S. has and for a very long time wanted to weaken, of course, and they're taking this opportunity. That is, I'm nuanced. I understand that. I also understand that people are going to they're tired. There's everything's
Near a
expensive
tenant
at
moment.
home. People don't care anymore, and they're going to lose interest in this war. I know that. We all know that, right? But you can't come tell me, oh yeah, this is, Putin came into Ukraine.
What did he
and
say?
invaded
His words were
because they are Nazis,
demilitarization,
but the damn president would do
denazification.
it. It's just,
Right. Well,
it's just
I mean, to be
crazy
fair,
talk. It's crazy.
he lied?
debate-
We all know
Wait,
why
the
Putin might have felt
Putin's
threatened
exact
by-
words. I'm not going to go mind reading. There's a video where he said
Let's talk a little bit more
denazification,
rational.
demilitarization.
yeah, but to be fair, Esha, I basically agree. I mean, I'm much closer to your position on Russia, Ukraine than I am to Rabia's. But to be fair, we don't take government's words at face value.
Okay,
I mean, you
what
could
is the-
argue that that's why Putin is doing it, but just because he said that doesn't mean
No,
it.
no,
Just
no, no.
like
But
we wouldn't
it's
say that
not
George
Putin,
Bush
but the
said
Russian
something.
government. But do we have any
Okay,
evidence
sure.
that they're doing
Putin
anything
has
to the
right
contrary?
defend its borders. Isha, if you were a little bit more rational about this, you would say, okay, you know what? NATO and Europe, they've been trying to expand NATO on Russian borders. There's a more rational argument than saying that he's going to cleanse Ukraine of Nazis. It's just crazy talk. And this
No,
is
it's
why
not
the left
crazy
is not
talk
taking it seriously.
because the U.S.
This is
government
why we are
had
not
a
taking it
bill
seriously.
banning
Like crazy people.
sending weapons
We sound
to
like
Nazis.
QAnon
There are
members.
59 Dobrograts. And they are basically, they were like in the, okay, so you understand that the two oblasts, Lugansk and Donetsk,
All right, one at a time. I don't know what to do. Maybe 30 seconds each.
How about give me 5 minutes to explain everything that has happened since 2014.
I don't want you to embarrass yourself even more.
I don't want you to
All right,
embarrass yourself. I don't want you to embarrass yourself anymore.
I was trying to make the point that there were these Dobro brats that were horrific, like evil, epitome of evil, like raping baby. You can't get more evil than being a Nazi baby right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and strategically speaking, if you are in the Democratic Party, I just don't see how that's a winning issue. We want to arm not baby raping Nazis. Like, I mean, so whatever. But he like, well, if perception is everything, she's trained from the school of perception is everything. Baby raping Nazis is bad. It gives bad perceptions.
Yeah.
But in February, he had a bill where he said, we're going to free everyone with combat experience. And that included people, yes, a week ago, slime like Ruslan Anichenko, who's the head of the Tornado Battalion, was freed.
Yeah.
And
is this where you were saying she sounded like Neera Tanden too?
Exactly like Neera Tanden. But yeah. So and by the way, this is what we know of with Tornado Battalion. There are 59 of these battalions. God knows what they're doing. We found so far 3 secret torture prisons. I've interviewed this guy named P. Let's call him Ruslan K. He was burnt with a blowtorch. When he was driving and they had a checkpoint, they decided to kidnap him. He was tied to a chair and burnt to like a blowtorch on his chest. There's another guy that they carved a swastika on his knife. And I've seen a video of, this is Azov, like, oh no, I actually put that, the eye gouging thing on my Gray Zone article.
Yeah, I pulled down a compilation, but it is bad. It's
okay, but just watch this.
Okay, let me pull that up. Sorry, I don't know what's going on because it's getting mad when I'm doing stuff now. Hold on. Here it is.
Fanning? She was fanning like that, literally? Okay.
She kept fanning herself.
That's weird.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I mean, literally, in 2015, the Daily Beast had to write an article that no, they didn't crucify a man in Slavyansk. That's a rumor, and then there's a video of them crucifying somebody and burning him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russians love Arabic music for some odd reason.
And then
they put a lot.
You wanted to show how she sounded like Neera Tanden.
That she just did about how people are losing interest, long war, ...
Yeah, so we had the memo from the WikiLeaks.
The Libya memo.
Yes.
We have a giant incentive. We have a lot of oil. Most Americans would choose not to engage in this world because of that deficit. And if we want to continue to engage, gestures like having royal oil-rich countries that we turn into slave markets partially pay us back doesn't seem crazy to me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's talking points. It's I mean,
but
like
she's paying. She wants bloody social. We're gonna turn a country into a slave market, and they have to pay you for turning it into a slave market.
It's like Mexico paying for the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, why is this not?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Hold on. It's not giving me the video's being weird.
Okay.
Let me re-up the video. It probably I've been adding so many things that it's
sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
It's a little bit. I mean, I could have. The thing is that the liberals' first point is she got name calling, and it's just like irrational argument, and so how is it's only irrational? It's only irrational to talk about people when it's not true. You know what I mean? Like Pizzagate is irrational because there is no pizza parlor where people are raping children. But if there is a basement of a school in Lizzie Chan's school number 32 where this happened, it's very irrational. Did they cut down on filming themselves? No, the Russians, they got captured and the Russians took away their cell phones basically. So that's why there haven't been so many films recently of every Azov atrocity because a lot of them are captured.
All right, let me try to get it back to where we were.
Okay.
I think we were like halfway done. Let's see.
Hey, you know what? NATO and Europe, they've been trying to expand NATO on Russian borders. There's a more rational argument
This is the old,
than saying that he's going to cleanse Ukraine of Nazis. It's just crazy talk.
So let's do another personal attack.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't do anything. I just give me 5 minutes to explain everything that happened since.
No, you've already said enough. You talked about raping babies and
Yeah.
and
So
Nazis.
do you tell me about this? So
we get it.
do you have anything about? Okay. So do you think there should be 59 of those little brats that the U.S. is arming?
Better leftist arguments about this. A better argument.
No, there is no better argument than protecting. No, there address what I said.
To get the
okay, do you agree that the Oblast of Donetsk and the Oblast of Lugansk declared independence in 2014? Do you agree with that, Pat?
We're talking about this full-blown war into Ukraine.
I don't know. Hold on. We can talk about it from the beginning. What started it?
We can argue about those areas that are under conflict.
No. Those are that's what started the civil war. Right after Maidan, they wanted to have a referendum.
I hate that. Okay, Amir. Okay, can we put that Amir's thing about multiple reasons thing? I hate that. That's liberal nonsense. There cannot be multiple reasons. Like liberals try to nuance cuck that, and no, there cannot be multiple reasons for many of these things. So yeah, I'm sorry, but no. That is like classic liberal nuance cuckery. I'm sorry. I don't know why that triggered me.
Well,
you have to talk about the multiple reasons, but not say there can be. So what are the bloody multiple reasons? Give it to me.
Give all the facts and all the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say there.
I
Okay.
guess
is trying for regime change exclude? No, it's not. We know this because of the 2006 leaked State Department memo. The first impetus was the pipeline, the Trans-Caspian pipeline, and this is in a State Department memo. So this is something you can actually find out about. You don't have to guess. Liberals guess.
Yeah.
Because they're too lazy for facts.
Government from Kiev would not let them, but then they had the referendum anyway, and that's when they militarized. And the first operation that the Kiev government had against them was a failure, and that's why in August of 2014 they needed to come together and sign the first Minsk Accord, which the Ukrainian government has been constantly violating. Then, 2 years later, they had to sign the second Minsk Accord, which again the Ukrainian government continues to violate. And the reason why, and the U.S. helps them violate that by just sending them infinite weapons. So
I brought up the Crimea water being shut out.
Yeah, you did actually. I know you talked about Crimea during this. So
facts you want to talk about because we need to talk about historical facts as opposed to, I don't know, whatever.
I think Rabia's okay. You froze for a second, Rabia, but I wanted to show. Do you want to respond to that, or because I did want to show an interesting clip?
Real quick, right? I feel like the left can make much better arguments when they
cares about what your arguments is.
Let her.
When they
wait, I should let her say it.
I don't care about losers. Yeah.
When we make rational.
Who cares? You're a loser. So unless you basically win a world war, I'm not going to listen to you about what the left should do. I'm sorry about that. Until I see the red flag planted on the Reichstag, I ain't listening to you.
Yeah, I have another cat.
You look like Lenin again.
This one's Ida May. She's
okay.
Trying to knock my
by
computer
Lenin,
down.
As in you were holding the cat the same way Lenin holds it.
She's trying to knock my computer down. So
Okay, so I'm like, this is me. You better win at least one world war if you want me to listen to you on any leftist argumentation or strategy.
Yes. All right.
And if you do not win at least one world war, screw you. You're a loser.
I don't know why this thing keeps doing weird things.
Yeah, so if you want, yeah,
All right. Let me play it some more because it just jumped again on me.
Seriously.
It's jumping because I
Very
double clicked.
rational.
Hold on, wait, Aisha, hold on. Let her just make her point, because
Okay.
Talk and say, oh, Putin invaded Ukraine this time around because there were baby rape or whatever you were saying that I've heard on QAnon. I hear this on the fringes of the internet. Then no one is going to take us seriously. And
So no one's going to take you seriously talking about facts about what is
Exactly
happening
what
and why we
happened.
should not be supporting or sending weapons to these people.
exactly. Like, you cannot, this is on film. There's a trial that happened where they went through, yeah, okay, she was trying to trigger me. I guess did she?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are doing this now, so she
Did trigger me, I guess. Okay, but she didn't okay. So, but yeah, this is the thing, is that my argument is, though, Ukraine, you are not protecting Ukraine's, but you are basically protecting the fascist coup government who are engaging in untold atrocities on the people who live there. How would you feel, like, this old man, Sergei Valyevich? I didn't interview him. Maxim Georgiev did, and I watched this. He was kidnapped and tortured because Tornado was in a grocery store with a machine gun, and he said, "Oh my God, you feel like he was being rude to a cashier girl." He stepped in and said, like, "Don't be rude. Like, oh my God, you're not a big man with a machine gun. Be nice to the cashier girl." They basically took him out, beat him up, then took him to the basement of this hospital in Kondobrovsk that they closed, and they tortured him for weeks. And then when they dropped him back home, his wife did not recognize him because his face was so disfigured.
Yeah.
So that's like, there are hundreds of people who have just disappeared. They are like, when you give these people very powerful weapons against a population of like villagers, they're going to abuse it in every way possible. They would just go and rob people of things. They would
and tie them up and paint their faces.
Oh yeah, like oh my God. And then remember that one Ukrainian dude who was trying to say that these people are not Russian, but they're Romani or something, and like,
yeah,
like.
And then, so if you care about the people of Ukraine, do you care about Donetsk and like, do you care about
these people to be the police? Who are you going to carry? Can you call the police when the police who do you call when somebody kidnaps your father and disappears him? Oh, by the way, like, a few years ago, they had the 64-year-old in prison for 22 years for allegedly acts of terrorism, and all he did was carry a jar of honey. Meanwhile, in February, you get the entire Tornado Battalion freed and to join other legions. So the senior citizen with a jar of honey is a bigger threat to the state. Like, it's hell there, hell on earth. In fact, there was this one lady. She said at the Real, she was like, "This is hell," and then she's like, "You can't even." She's like, "Actually, I'm scared to go to the bathroom because then they'll tell you brought it upon yourself," which I assume she's talking about her being raped multiple times, right?
Yeah, being by yourself is a danger.
True.
Hold on, Esha, hold on. Let her finish her point, and then you'll be able to
A
respond.
better argument for the left would be like we need to talk about, maybe a NATO expansion for sure, right? Maybe,
NATO
yes,
expansion.
Putin is, maybe he's trying to, he did say a couple of months ago that he wanted to reclaim the empire. Okay,
No,
we
he
heard him
didn't.
very clear. We hear about the psycho
No, he
man
didn't.
that wants to go back and reclaim his empire. I believe that completely. That
Okay, you
there's
want to
no
reclaim
way
an empire that was so decrepit that a bunch of illiterate peasants overthrew?
Yeah.
No one does
And-
that.
Hold on. We actually have something
Yeah, I'm sorry.
showing that. If I
No, we have Putin addressing the claim that he wants to reclaim the Russian Empire. Okay, like I said, if you want a rhetoric police, you better have won at least one world war. So unless you're Lenin, Stalin, or Mao, shut the fuck up.
Сразу же хочу сказать, мы видим и предвидели, можно сказать, спекуляции на эту тему, на тему о том, что Россия собирается восстановить империю в имперских же границах. Это абсолютно не соответствует действительности. После распада Советского Союза Россия признала все новые геополитические реалии и, как вы знаете, активно работает над укреплением нашего взаимодействия со всеми странами, возникшими, независимыми государствами, возникшими на постсоветском пространстве. Но даже в очень острых ситуациях, которые являются, скажем, Нагорно-Карабахского регулирования, мы всегда действовали очень аккуратно, исходя из интересов всех вовлеченных в этот процесс государств, и всегда старались добиться взаимоприемлемых решений.
Okay, was Putin always like doing this like really big table before the COVID thing?
I don't know. No, because I've seen him around people. Like he's
Okay,
in
so this is the COVID thing,
people.
the really big table.
Yeah, he probably just.
Yes, the New Zealand
Doesn't
mass
wanna be
shooter was definitely in Ukraine, trained by the Azov battalion. That is correct.
Yeah. So that was.
That is 100%. He wrote that in his manifesto.
All right, so.
hell is Putin invading Ukraine because he wants to clean up Ukraine of Nazis.
Hey, what are we getting on it?
Just neither one can declare that they know for sure certain what Putin's doing or why he's doing it.
Okay, well, first of all, one of the tactics is to reduce a country of 130 million to Putin.
146 actually.
Let's agree that it is the country of Russia acting and not Putin. And and for the most part, most of this plan was.
So it's not Putin. It's not this autocrat.
It's part of the country of Putin as a member of the president of the country of Russia.
People saying, you know how many families had no idea why their kids were out there in Ukraine?
Okay, so there's two things that she had said there that you had.
Okay, so the first thing is when you watch Checkmate, this movie. It's about how they do color. Checkmate something, Anatomy of a Revolution. They basically explain why they demonize the leaders. Like that way you think you can't really do anything besides conquer him because peace is impossible because he's crazy. And that's a tactic to avoid peace.
And
Putin did not, it was not Putin's idea. In fact, he was brought kicking and screaming because the Duma, Putin has, for being an autocrat, he has literally vetoed 0 bills passed by the Duma. 0 bills have been vetoed.
Yeah.
That's not very autocratic. That's very listening to the people.
I mean, all right. So we had, let me hide that one. And
so members of
Duma.
Okay, so this is what forced the war. Members of the Duma voted for the draft appeal to the president for the recognition of LPR and I always thought it was LNR and DNR.
That's it.
And that kicked in a treaty. I'm not sure which treaty it kicked in, but it kicked in a treaty that meant that Russia had to intervene. And if you remember, Putin actually spoke for like 3 days straight to explain to everyone why they had to, like, he I mean, if you listen to him for 3 days, he goes through a really long explanation about why he has to go to war. And you can tell it's not his choice. Like, but he is basically doing his job to convince. Like, I've never seen Joe Biden ever convince the American people of anything like that with that much patience. But for two straight, yeah.
The other thing that she had said right before I stopped it was about how they don't even know why they're fighting.
That is a lie.
So, do you want to? Was it the Vice video? Was that the woman?
Yeah.
Okay,
that was big, awesome.
Знали, что он в Украине?
This show's weird.
Ну
Sorry.
да, конечно, знала. Они же уже же по новостям рассказывали. Мы только могли это все знать по новостям. Все понимают, для чего это делается. И он ушел героем. Для нас, если эта война начнется какая-то, они же имеют право, вот все, кто входит в НАТО, уже взять свое оружие, и нас уже как-то, то, что там происходит, нас ожидало.
И вы считаете, что наступление в Украину – это на самом деле защита России?
А зачем вы у нас берете интервью, вам районный администратор дал разрешение нам на это все? У вас есть какие-то документы, которые подтверждают, что можно вот это?
Да,
вы можете
да.
мне показать удостоверение?
Конечно, конечно.
А вот российский представитель, кто есть с вами?
Я.
Вы так чисто говорите на английском. А вы где работаете?
After the interview, the family called a local official, and he ended up putting out a police alert for us. Police questioned us for about 2 hours.
2 hours.
They
Good job.
couldn't find anything wrong with our documents, but it was pretty tense there for a while.
That's exactly what you need to do when a vice reporter comes to your country.
Yeah, that I guess I'll have to, like, the TikTok videos we use. I'll have to.
What happened? It doesn't even matter. But like, yeah, they know what they're fighting for. That's the stupid Western propaganda.
Yeah. So if I do a TikTok, I'm just gonna have to put it on screen. I'm gonna have to resize it. Is what I mean. Okay.
Why they were out there fighting?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Because
Yeah.
I need to clarify my position.
right,
Katie,
this
you've
is
known me for
After
a
I
long
left.
This is after. Yeah. This is.
She should have
after
shut
I
up.
left.
time. I'm in no way, justifying any NATO expansion on Russian borders. I know
Yes, you
it's a
are.
very complicated issue. Has been
it's
a very
not.
complicated issue for a long time.
No, it's not.
I've come.
I wanted, and what I said to you on that, because she kept saying it's complicated, like, and this is only a part of the whole thing. She probably said it's complicated, like, what, 5 or 6 times at least. And it's just like, okay, if it's complicated and you can't talk about it, like, why are you
Talking about it. Shut up.
Like if you don't know it and you, like, people are here to try to understand it, and they want answers. They want you to show them facts. They don't want the talking points. They don't want, like,
The nuanced
so
cookery.
if it's too complicated for you, stay away from it. That's all I have to say.
Exactly. But it's not too complicated at all. Like,
Yeah, she's just.
I have not been like a
I
sort of
don't
like
to challenge
Russia
guests during
or
interviews
that.
too, but I tend to be a good filter. So there was this one guy who claimed to, like, we kind of wanted to learn about Swaziland, but then there was this guy who knew we did a 5-minute interview and he knew nothing about Swaziland, and so we're like, okay, so we're not going to do this. And so you just have to be better at filtering guests if you don't want to challenge them, if you don't want to be mean on screen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You kind of have to push back a little bit. I don't know, but
But like I said, or you don't have. I mean, you don't have to. If you don't want to push back, I don't want like pushbacking guests. I just don't have people I need to push back on as guests.
yeah.
A region expert. I am mostly an expert on the Middle East, and
you're not.
I know how Putin and Russia. I mean, there is, unfortunately, on the left, we like to romanticize the Soviet Union. We like to see it.
Yes,
we
because
tend
it's a
to
great
say,
thing they did.
they're out there fighting the imperialist West, right? Or
Yes, they were.
At the end of the day, ask any Syrian, ask any Arab in the region,
yes, let's ask
anyone,
Syrians.
and they'll tell you exactly how they feel about Russia and the U.S. equally.
Yes,
and the kind of
let's ask.
All right, let's see. This one.
Yes, let's ask.
От ви спитали, як так може
бути?
No,
that's not it. Sorry.
Let's ask the Syrian.
I have it. Hold on. I just have a...
What is that ayahuasca drinking therapist father?
What?
I don't know. Never mind.
Okay, I have Libya. You gave me
Syria.
I know. Why am I not seeing it? Because I know I saved it.
Let me see if I can share her.
Yeah, you share it up, and I can put it up.
I gave it to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll show it later. But there's a rally in Syria where they say "Spasiba Putin, Spasiba," yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's.
It's fine. Let's skip that.
And then because she had said something about Libya too, and then you have the video with Libya.
Okay.
No,
we don't know. The Libya thing was the near attendant.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go back to this.
Damage and carnage that they've caused throughout the Middle East for decades. That's just a fact.
Okay, so that I have one other part of this that I just want to show.
Yes.
The very end. I think this is it.
Oh, no, the Zelensky video.
I have the Zelensky too.
Yeah, remember when she says he was Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
okay, this is the one we want to show about Syria.
Oh, this was why did I have
الشعب السوري بالساحات للمجد بيرفع رايات عم يهتف بثلاث كلمات الله وسوريا وبشار.
All right, so I have that one. I just listed it as Libya.
Okay.
I try.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. Let me get rid of this one. And then this was the last bit that you wanted to
make arguments when people's lives are at stake. We need to be more rational. We need to talk literally in a rational way. Isha comes in the whole time and she's talking about Nazis. Ukraine is Nazis. Like, it's just crazy talk for me, and I feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice, and I feel like we're giving ammunition to the moderates within the Democratic Party or even the right to say that the left are full of crazies, just as the right is full of crazies, you know? So I don't know.
All right, so then that was that, and so we have a couple of videos we want to show. First,
let's show the Zelensky one because that's hilarious.
Okay. Well, okay. Hold on.
Zelensky's Jewish. Okay, let's look at him. What he said about the Ukraine's Nazi problem when he was the comedian. This is hilarious. He's a great
письмо
comedian.
моим родственникам, любимым в России. Здравствуйте, дядя Игорь, тетя Валя и дядя Саша. Вопреки вашим опасениям сообщаю, что живу я хорошо, пока живу. Дальше будет еще лучше, потому что уже 3 недели, как я принят в бандеровцы. А как иначе? Иначе у нас в Украине карьеры не сделать. Хотя что я вам рассказываю, вы и так все знаете. Зарплата у меня маленькая, но это не главное. Ведь нам разрешили отбирать деньги и имущество у русских. А раньше можно было и у евреев. Но потом пришел главный бандеровец Коломойский и запретил. Я, например, сейчас учу английский язык, чтобы забыть русский. В этом мне помогают американские наемники, которые у нас тут на каждом шагу. Прошу прощения за неровный почерк. Пишу прыгая, потому что у нас кто не скачет, той москаль. женился во второй раз. На Вадике. Для нас, европейцев, это нормально. Сегодня наш президент, ну, самый главный, который у нас, самый главный президент, Барак Обама, пообещал, что мы скоро вступим в НАТО. Пока, естественно, на правах американского прихвостня. Выходные дни, по-нашему, уикенд. Едем к родителям на дачу. Копать бункер. Если есть возможность, друзья, вышлите, пожалуйста, мне книгу Гитлера «Майн кампф». А то у нас разметают. Бывало, утром выхожу на балкон и начинаю делать зарядку. От сердца к солнцу, вот так. Как видите, у нас все спокойно. Поэтому не бойтесь, приезжайте к нам. Но заранее сообщите, чтобы мы успели сделать вам аусвайс. Только не летите самолетами. Это опасно. Поездом тоже не стоит. Безопаснее всего ехать на белых КАМАЗах. Они ходят регулярно без опозданий. Это теперь наш общественный транспорт.
When you look at the full clip, he goes like makes a point about talking about all the Nazi problems in Ukraine. Like,
yeah, I mean that's his whole comedy was talking about how the Nazi, like that whole skit was about Nazis. And
yeah, he was like Auschwitz, which is the concentration camp ID. Like, yeah. Oh, I'm still in the process of translating this, like about like how they catch and interrogate separatists. That one's hilarious.
And then I have your compilation of just shit proving Nazis.
Okay, let's go for it. Oh, okay. Let me quickly explain. How did he go from that? Okay, so Igor Kolomoisky, the big Banderite, well, he owns the biggest media channel in Ukraine. And so Zelensky was so good at comedy that he got a show called Servant of the People, which is a show where he got to, it's kind of like The West Wing, but actually a hilarious show where he's playing the president. So then, basically, the same guy who funded Petro Poroshenko is also funding Zelensky. And Zelensky does the Trump thing where he's like, am I going to run for president? Am I not running president? And then Petro Poroshenko is so bad for the economy. Literally, people, and Zelensky was the only one who was talking about A, doing a peace deal with Russia, B, not cutting pensions, C, improving the economy. And then you had 4 crackhead Nazis. I'm not kidding. So people knew Zelensky's name. The crackhead part, I don't know. But yeah, he was talking reasonably. He was going to disarm. So, and then Igor Kolomoisky was also funding him. And so then you can see that as he got to be president, he was like, he's like Ronald Reagan, an actor playing president.
Yeah.
And he's not in charge. And so that's kind of how he got to be president.
And he ran on peace.
He ran on peace, bread, and land, not land, but something like that.
Yeah.
Not being a Nazi. And Petro Poroshenko was a billionaire, and he was so unpopular. He's an incumbent. He got 19% of the vote. Zelensky is actually a really good actor and a really good comedian. Like, you have to hand it to him there.
Так може бути тому, що Донбас взагалі регіон, який, ну, це не просто депресивний регіон, розумієте? Там настільки великий комплекс таких грона проблем, і головніше, наприклад, тому, що там просто дика кількість абсолютно непотрібних людей. В економіці, повірте, я абсолютно свідомо про це говорю. От якщо брати навіть чисто Донецьку область, там приблизно 4 мільйони населення. Щонайменше 1,5 мільйона там просто зайвих людей. Про що хочу сказати? Нам не треба розуміти Донбас, нам треба розуміти взагалі український національний інтерес. А Донбас треба просто використати як ресурс. які треба відповідно з приводу розуміння Донбасу. Мені здається, що в мене немає зрозуміння жодного рецепту, що тут можна зробити швидко, але найголовніше, що треба зробити в даний момент, як це там жорстоко не прозвучить, є певна категорія людей, яких треба просто вбити.
This is not the only time on Ukrainian TV they casually talk about genocide.
No.
Yeah.
No, they do it all the time. And
if they're doing it that casually on TV, I'm sorry.
Well, we're gonna leave with we're gonna not leave, but I mean, the last video for this segment,
yes,
is when because she said,
"You are crazy."
Yes, she basically
told crazy. They're gonna think you're crazy.
So, from the man himself.
The capitalist press want to attack the All African People's Revolutionary Party and tell people all the time, don't you all go listen to them, they're crazy. Especially that one Kwame Ture, he was crazy in the 60s, he's crazier in the 90s. Well, they call Malcolm crazy, so they're not going to call me sane. And I'll never be sane in a system that's insane, that's clear.
He was awesome. I loved him. Okay. One day we can talk about it now. There were not 100 snipers. There were 100 victims. So there's this professor. I can't remember his name. He still blocked me on Twitter, which I don't understand why. But so because Maidan was, hold on. Can we continue showing that?
Yeah.
Because Maidan was one of the most, we'll also check out our interview with the Ukraine Under Fire director, Igor Lapatonek. Because Maidan was the most filmed event, he figured out, he did these calculations where he figured out the location of the camera and the location of the bullets, and then he realized that for all the 100 victims, everything came from this hotel called Hotel Ukraine. And it was some Georgian mercenary who did the shooting.
And why was there 100?
Because Victoria Nuland said, in order for us to support regime change, we need to see 100 dead bodies on film.
Yeah. That was the magic number.
Magic number. That's what Victoria Nuland said.
Yep. So, yeah.
So they showed up and they lured them God, it's disgusting how they did that.
Oh, it was, like you said, it was like a dance.
Yes. It was a choreographed coup.
They moved the people in, the people that were complicit moved people into places and
then for the sniper to go and go.
Yep.
Yeah, so there were 100 dead people that's how they got it. We know, we're pretty cool. We're pretty sure. Has the State Department admitted they did Maidan? I don't know, but we have evidence. Source to the Newland quote. The video of her, I think
there's actually a video of her talking.
Saying that.
It's not that phone call. The phone call was something
it's her
different.
meeting with the Arseny she calls him Arseny Vitaly Klitschko and this other guy.
Yeah, and they actually have her on video saying those words. It's not...
Watch Ukraine Under Fire.
Yeah. It's all in there.
It's all in there. You can see that video. She's a horrible person. Evil. Yeah, watch Ukraine Under Fire, and there is a video. That's why they, when they decided to get rid of all Russian propaganda that one day, and that was because there were so many war crimes and videos like this that they were hoping to erase on the internet or something like that. Was so weird how they got rid of all of the all these Russian channels, you know what I mean, that day.
Yeah.
That's why. But yeah. So yeah.
Can I tell you something funny?
Yeah.
During the helper show, you basically got accused of hating women or something like that, and you remember her saying that to you, that you didn't like women or something?
I did not. I did not register it during the
okay class. There was something about women, you weren't.
Why do
you weren't supporting women, or you weren't this whole thing. My father came down earlier, and my father is just a sarcastic asshole, but he's funny, and he's definitely like he's a leftist. He's not, but he comes down, and he obviously is like, oh, like I told you. He said, poor Rudy, because they were talking about Rudy, and then he goes, they're trying to make Liz Cheney the president. And at first I thought he said Dick Cheney, and I was like, what? And he goes, no, Liz Cheney. And I go, ugh. And he goes, you just hate all women because of Hillary and then her. And I'm like, you just said that about Victoria Nuland, that she's just a horrible person. It's like, I don't hate all women. I hate horrible women who are in leadership and
want 100 dead bodies on film.
Exactly. That's the women I hate. So
yeah.
But I just thought that was funny. Yes, Ukraine Under Fire is excellent. There's actually the second movie too. We talked to.
We're revealing Ukraine. Both of them are good, excellent, depressing at the same time.
What did they put them up on? Was it Rotten? No,
everything.
It's just.
We can. I'll ask. We can even stream it from here one day if you want. We can even like. What do you?
Yeah, you probably let us stream it out.
Yeah, we'll because it's very, very, very well done, very informative. They are very, I mean, they destroyed a country.
Yeah, and to go to the point of like Ashley was saying, like, how do you beat a liberal in arguments, and going to Lenin, but. In doing this exercise of showing you, like she's saying, these are the points. Like she's using the facts. That's exactly what Lenin would have you do. Is like you're not like you can't go. Well, I just feel like Putin's doing that. No, you have to show a fact that Putin is actually not denazifying, but trying to take over Ukraine. And
well, I mean, what is there to take? But is it? I mean. First of all, I just don't think the Treaty of Versailles is a legitimate treaty, and I refuse to accept whatever was decided by those three, like those disgusting genocidal imperialists in that room that one day in 1917 as a legitimate way to define borders across the world. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But so once you ignore that, then. Suddenly you realize, these borders were carved up to, it's just, you don't, I mean, the first time Ukraine came into existence as a state was 1941, the Bandera state. Should it, like, I don't even care if you want to, I mean, maybe, I'm just saying that it cannot get worse than, I mean, you have to look at the historical way, I guess, Ukraine has existed and what it exists for, why it exists, and does Ukraine have more of a right to exist than the Democratic Republic of Germany? If the Democratic Republic of Germany does not have a right to exist, I will say that neither does Israel nor Ukraine.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. So unless, Ukraine, they used to call that Mala Russia, which means Little Russia. The Donbas region was Nova Russia, which is New Russia. And Belarus, which is White Russia.
Yeah. Belarus.
Yeah. So Velikaya Russia is what you think of Russia now. That's Great Russia. So it's just some old name from the 1500s.
Yeah. From the 1500s.
Or like some old name, basically. It used to be called Velikaya, Mala, and Novaya, and that made up the empire.
Are they bringing up what Putin said? What was the word that Putin used that you said that was kind of outdated?
Nova Russia for the Donbas region.
So he was talking about, okay. So is that why people are, because he's calling it New Russia, that are they misinterpreting him, meaning that he's claiming it as Russia.
Yeah.
So that would be like someone in Mexico calling New Mexico, and then the United States going, "You're trying to steal New Mexico from us?"
Yeah. Okay. There are tens and thousands of maps online. Just Google Tsarist Russia, and you can see billions of, like, as many maps to your heart's content.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably just using the term because it was the
boomer term.
Well, no, not even that. It's the more accurate term for the region that he's talking about.
It's not even that. I think, like, it's kind of like how I don't know why I can never call that city Mumbai. I just call it Bombay.
Istanbul and Constantinople and
or exactly Istanbul and or like Madras, Chennai. Some people call the capital of Colombo instead of Sri Dayavardhana Kotte.
Some people say that DC stands for District of Columbia, and I think it stands for dumb CUNT.
Yes.
Something like that. All right. So what else?
Yeah, you're not. No. Stalin. Ukraine is a creation of Stalin because Stalin was the expert on the national question, and he's the one that. And ironically, the fascists in Ukraine don't even realize that.
Yeah. Oh, how was Lenin on Ukraine? Lenin was
a Ukraine stan, but he was not responsible for the creation of Ukraine. That is Stalin, because he was when he was in the committee where there were 17 Jews and 1 Georgian and 1 Russian, as we know by the anti-Semitic snowflake. He was in charge of dealing with the national question, which was like figuring out like what these republics were and whatever. Yeah. And so it is ironic that there are so many fascists that they're like anti-Stalin in Ukraine, but there would be no Ukraine if it weren't for Stalin.
Well, because I was like, I asked you about Lenin because did you see the statue, the picture of the Seattle statue?
Oh, yeah.
With the blue and the yellow paint.
Yeah, Lenin would have totally been cool with that.
It's like, okay, he was okay with Ukraine. Like,
Lenin was a big Ukraine stan.
But this is the whole thing. Like, they don't. That's the problem. They don't even want to know facts. Like, they look foolish because they're painting.
But Lenin uses an old name for Ukraine, though. He calls it Malorossiya or something like that. So, but yeah, Little Russia. But yeah, Lenin was he wrote many Ukrainian stan articles. It didn't even occur to me. I'm so stupid. Like, I was like, oh, Lenin painted in bright colors, and it just didn't even occur to me that was supposed to be Ukraine colors.
Oh, all right. Okay. Now you get it.
Yeah, because I just didn't think anyone, yeah.
I know. I just see blue and yellow together now, and I'm like,
me too. But Ukraine knew its own history until 1990, whatever that date was, and then the U.S. State Department has spent billions on the U.S. aid after Maidan has spent so many billions on education and textbooks where they glorify Stepan Bandera. And if you go to Maxim Georgiev's Telegram channel, he goes through all the horrific textbooks. Maxim George, yeah, that's him. He has an English channel now, but the subtitles are not the best. But he's a really good journalist.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to go through?
No.
We finally got a long one out.
Yes.
You must feel better because.
I say hi to Bang Bang Jr. That is the new president. Is he the president of yet? Yes, he's the president of Philippines now.
Bang Bang.
His name is Marcos Ferdinand Jr., but his nickname is Bang Bang.
Yeah. Yes, it is. All right. What else are we doing?
I had one more. The Prince.
Oh, whoa, you want to show the?
That was so funny.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. I have to set it up.
Okay, because I think I sent it to you. That was the last screenshot I sent you.
Yeah, it was just a screenshot. So let me.
It's hilarious. You know who's complaining about the loss of democracy?
Hold on. Now I have to share the screen.
Yeah. The Prince.
Oh God.
Don't be a joke. Yes, I've seen that clip. I just don't have time to subtitle it. Yes, I have seen. Okay. Prince. World democracy under assault, says royalty.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Like anyone else would have been a better deal.
You are, yes, you are like the furthest thing from democracy. Okay.
Okay. So non mo papo, yes, I know there is that clip, but every clip of Putin's is mistranslated unless I translate it myself, as far as I know. If you are capable of being a good translator of Russian and subtitled, like I said, every Putin clip I've seen that I personally have not translated has not been translated properly. I can't trust Western translators. So unless you can find a nice volunteer to translate all Putin videos, it's hard work. That Putin video that I translated took 30 minutes at least.
Yeah, and that was a minute. Well, it was a minute and 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's hard work to translate.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's why I can only... You cannot trust any translator unless...
You trust the person. You know them personally. You trust them.
I've seen Putin's... I'm tired of the mistranslations. When he says something...
Even the Lenin, the stuff we read on Lenin sometimes, you'll come up to something and you're like, that doesn't sound right. And you go look it up in the Russian and you're like, yeah, that's why it doesn't sound right. Wasn't it like, on the Stalin stuff, they had him, everything, he was saying like man, and that's not what he was saying.
He was saying humanity.
Yeah. And he was saying people at sometimes.
He was being gender neutral and like a perfect specimen he is. He would not, he never said man, he said humans, people. They hate Stalin because on his bio he would have his pronouns we, us, and he would seriously ask everyone for their pronouns and diligently follow it and be all genuine about it. And
no, Stalin did pronouns?
I'm sure he would have if that was what they did. Like, he was very genuine about all these things. You know how Lenin was kind of sarcastic? Stalin was very, very genuine.
Yeah, he seemed very more like he wasn't a jokester. Like, he was more like straight.
Yeah, and he was not rude. He was very polite. Oh, except that one time allegedly Lenin accused him of being rude to his wife. Yeah, once. But Lenin was a wife guy. It's adorable. Like,
he was definitely a wife guy.
Yeah, he was really. Yeah, but like, yeah.
All right.
Like I said, it's hard work to translate Putin videos. So that's why I can't show every Putin video you want to see. I'm sorry.
You'll get there.
Yeah, so I prioritize if it's like a video. So now, like, I prioritize with like Azov videos is the first one. Like, things that Westerners need to see is what I prioritize. And Putin saying socialism is good is not something I'm going to prioritize.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm ranting about how tired I am. Even what am I doing? Why am I ranting about how tired?
Because you haven't been on camera for this long in a long time. I think it's been a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but it's like I want people to understand that it's exhausting to do videos with subtitles because it takes a lot of time.
It does.
Especially for a U.S. enemy that the U.S. wants to mistranslate, and you can't trust.
Yes. I mean, even just doing translations for English before like I know how long that took. So you add a whole another language to it, and not even like you're just you're probably you're 2 years in, but you're probably more like 5 years in to learning Russian, right?
I don't think so. I
don't know.
I can understand the volume, like, so I understand a lot more just because I've practiced a lot these days, because I feel like I hear somebody say something really outrageous on Twitter, or on MSNBC they said something ridiculous. Wait a minute. And then I listen and I'm like, wait, what did they say? It's like sometimes you're like, it's so outrageous what they claim versus what really has been said. It's just like, I've seen really outrageous stuff, so it's just like,
I get it. Yeah.
Like Timothy Schneider, when he said, like, when Putin said something like about, like, he was like basically not. It was not. There was no baby kidnapping. It was just like saying that, like, if there's an orphanage or like a, I don't know, adoption home or something that's located inside the Donbas region, like, if the parent or guardian decided to become a Russian citizen, then they'd fast track the children. But then Timothy Schneider spread this vicious, because he tweeted it out. It went on MSNBC. Like, yeah, it's completely untrue everything he tweets out, but he tweets it out. And anyways,
how about Marx is a amazing example of hack job translation too.
I don't speak German, but I have to say that Engels,
German's weird. I took a couple of years of German. It's not. I mean,
it's difficult.
Even though English is a Germanic language, but we use it so much different than Germans use theirs. So it's I mean, the translations for anything,
it's going to be imprecise, but then there's the bad faith, the ones that want to mistranslate.
Kat Terrell is talking about the Irish and the Scottish, which I'm assuming are the Gaelic, and there's a reason for that too. Like, they don't want them using the Gaelic language either. So
yeah.
So
translators, like I said, if there's no bad faith, if it's like completely good faith, there's going to be mistakes that go both ways. If mistakes always go one way, you know that it's bad faith.
Yeah.
So that's why I always like ask people, oh my God, remember when, so it's like, enough with the coat. Yeah.
The fucking coat.
With the yards of linen, 20 yards of linen. How many yards of linen do you need to make a coat?
How many yards of linen?
20. Wait, what, do you really need 20 yards of linen to make a coat? Why does Marx say that?
I don't know. 20 yards of linen to make a coat. I thought you said Lenin. I thought you said Lenin at first, and I was like,
no. Lenin did not speak about coats.
No, I thought you said instead of linen, I thought you said Lenin. And I'm like,
20 yards of linen to make a coat.
That's why I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, linen.
Yeah.
I could see, like, for coat, maybe because it has to be layered if it's linen, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Can somebody research why it takes 20 yards of linen?
Well, it still would be. I mean, it's a yard isn't as big as you think it is.
Okay, this is a yard?
Yeah, it's like, well, isn't it like yards? Okay, my mother used to take out the yardstick to scare me.
Okay, so yardstick. Okay, so basically, a yard is like one human wide. One fat human wide. One Marx width.
Well, I mean, our arms out, though.
Okay.
Like a yardstick would be like that, right? It's like 3 feet. Isn't it like I don't know. I'm like
okay, but so yards of linen. Okay. So according to our audience, 50% thinks Hillary Clinton offed JFK Jr. and 50% think Hillary Clinton did not off JFK Jr.
50% of you are wrong.
Okay.
Half of you are wrong. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I know who I voted for.
I know who I voted for too. Motive, means, and opportunity.
Not enough yards. 3 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 3 feet. I was right. 3 feet.
So why do you need 20 yards to make a coat then?
That would be 60 feet of
linen.
Maybe you're just a really tall person.
Okay. Unless they got the translation for the unit of measure wrong.
Oh, no doubt. I wouldn't even.
Because, but with Lenin, he always used the decetines. So,
yeah.
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 And I don't know what a decetine is. It's like a little over an acre is what I learned.
Was it like 1.86 or something? I don't know.
I don't know. Lenin always uses decetines.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We're too used to the in America we're
no one uses decetines after the revolution, but
no, and I'm saying in America we can't think beyond cups and yards and feet and inches.
How do you measure a coat? I don't understand this.
How do you measure a coat? Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of coat you're making. You have to like.
Oh, there are small. Oh, I see. There's wastage material. Okay, thank you, Neil. Oops. Did I duck his? I'm sorry. Okay. So there are small pieces of collars that have a lot of wastage material. I understand now. What happens? Okay.
You do waste a lot of stuff. There is a lot of waste when you make fancy things.
Coats.
If we all just wore sheets, it'd be what? No waste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So apparently Lenin hated going shopping for clothes, and so whatever his sister and mom visited, they'd like have to get him clothes, and he'd wear it until the next time they saw him, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like shopping for clothes either.
Yeah, so like that's why there were times when Lenin looked like really well fitted, and sometimes it looked like the suit was too big for him.
Yeah. Well, when he was getting sick too.
Yeah.
Losing weight.
Oh yeah. But then Okay.
All right. We're just yes. All right. Goodbye.
I don't know what to say now. I feel like
we've been off for 3 hours. I think we.
Oh yeah. Goodbye. Sloboda narodu, smrti fašizmu.
All right. Goodbye.